Welcome into the Spartan Masters Series from the Talladega Superspeedway here in week number 2 of this brand new season. I'm Austin Edstrom, staying alongside Brian Britt, and Austin Derbyshire is behind the production booth as always. Brian, we're coming down to my home track of Talladega, Alabama, and I am really looking forward to this one. The next-gen car at the Superspeedways on iRacing, big asterisks there, it's got to be on iRacing, is absolutely fantastic. It's a blast to watch from the broadcast booth. Brian, what do you think we're going to be seeing out on the racetrack here tonight as 42 guys come out here and compete?
Yeah, I'm super excited as well. I mean, 2.5 or 2.66 miles, I should say. 2.5 is Daytona. This is Daytona's big sister, Big Old Bertha Talladega. It's going to be some high-octane action here tonight. You can fit 4 cars side by side at this racetrack, so there's going to be plenty of room. And we had 50 cars show up, try to register to qualify for this race, and not everybody made it. So I think a lot of these guys are going to be fighting for positions.
Could see a lot of guys fighting early, but it is a pretty long race, right? 112 laps with 42 cars throughout the field. Is there really going to be any safe place in the field? I don't know. It might only be the front, but how hard is it going to be to keep that track position? Brian, what are your keys to the race? What do you do to escape all the mayhem?
Well, I think the keys to the race, of course, is find your dancing partner. You're pretty much going to want to, beforehand, before this race begins, kind of have done some prep work. Find a guy that you really like to work with, or find multiple people that you like to work with. Have a plan to where you can somehow get together and find your dancing partner. And that you're going to be faster if you're comfortable with the person that you're pushing. The second key is going to be nail your pit strategy. Of course, this is a 60% fuel race, so the fuel window, I do believe, is probably going to be around 25 laps, probably. I'd say around that margin, maybe even less than that. So you're going to really saving fuel, staying. I don't want to be the leader in that case, because you're going to be running more gas in the lead. You're going to have to nail everything about this pit strategy to maybe not have to, do as many pit stops, and also to pit at the right times to get the track position at the end of this 112 lap race. Of course, and the third one is just like you said, don't die. You have to survive this race. You cannot get involved in the accidents, and that's going to be tough. I mean, Talladega, you're going to see a lot of 3 wide here tonight. I don't think it's going to be a rare occurrence at all. And I think, for me, I want to be on the bottom lane. I think that's going to be the place to survive the wreck, because you can at least have an escape route. But then again, that's not where the speed's at. The bottom lane usually is not where the speed's at here at Talladega.
Ever since the next gen has come out, it's really seemed to be more of a top dominant racetrack. A lot of dragging these race cars just seems like you can use that outside line. You get a couple people lined up to really form a big train of momentum, but the run always comes back on the bottom. Just how long does it take to form? But we're going to move into our broadcast picks for the evening. I'm going to go up first. Devin Maines in the 5 car. I think he was pretty quick at Kansas last week. Had a little bit of misfortune. I think he could pick up the pieces tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, I'm going to be going with Justin Levine. I feel like he is a super speedway expert. Usually you find him up on the top groove, 3 wide, 4 wide, making some crazy moves. And a lot of times it ends up with him in P1. So we'll see if he's able to kind of do that here tonight. Of course, we're going to have the 99 of Timothy Babcock. That's our producer, Austin Derbyshire's pick here this evening. So some Grid Vision machines kind of in the picks tonight. And I'll be honest, Taylor Burris and the boys kind of produced and broadcasted the Spartan Sim Racing Series or League truck race last night. And I actually participated in that. He actually picked me in that race, and I don't know why he did that.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. How did that turn out?
I finished 13th.
Okay, unlucky number. That scares me a little bit. Kind of makes me worried for tonight, since you're sitting next to me in this race. I'm a little worried. But either way, we're going to move into our broadcast schedule for the week ahead. Later this week on Thursday night, the High Slide iRacing Truck Series, 8:20 p.m. Eastern, Michigan Speedway. And then Friday night, right back at the Talladega Superspeedway for some Ryko Performance Friday night NIS Top Split at 9 p.m. Eastern. But right here, right now, we got the Spartan Masters Series, week number 2, and the warm-up is just finished. So we're going to bring you the starting lineup as Jake Hickson up on the pole here tonight. Todd Parent on the outside in second place. Colby Jackson in third with Johan Seminario lining up in fourth with Charles Van Schack lining up on the inside of row number 3 with PB Henry on his outside. Devin Maines lining up in the 7th place position with Corey Moore in 8th. Robert Besaw Jr. in 9th place with Justin Levine on the outside in 10th.
11th place is going to be Kevin Zosiak. 12th place is going to be Chris Hudson. 13th, Logan Joyle. 14th, Kendall Levron. 15th is going to be Ryan Jalick. 16th, Art Nicotera. 18th, Mark Sanchez. 19th, James Staples. And rounding out the top 20 is Kyle Westwood.
21st is Jeffrey Oaks with Caleb Mitchell on the outside in 22nd. Evan Ethel in 23rd. Reese Schaefer in 24th. Tom Ringer lining up in the 25th place position with Chad Kibbe on the outside in 26th. Sammy Harrell in 27th. Kenny Powell in 28th. David Salter lining up in 29th with Kyle Gerlach rounding out the top 30. Having technical difficulties. We can hear our producer, but he cannot hear us. So I'm a little confused, but I believe we're coming through to you guys. Maybe. I believe we're all good to go.
Apologize.
Yeah, a little bit of technical difficulties in the booth, but I think we got it all fixed up. Going down the back straightaway under the yellow flag, probably the best place to have that happen.
Yeah, for sure. We do apologize if we weren't able to say everybody's name, but I'm sure we'll possibly say it at the end of the event for sure. We do want to mention Jake Hickson, who, second place in the points after last week's race. Definitely fantastic performance for him. He's starting on the pole. We did finish it, but okay. Okay, Dave Sanders, I guess, is in 32nd. J.C. Evans is in 33rd. Daryl Klotz in 34th. Dakota Jorgensen 35th. Alex Egan in 36th. Corey Saucier 37th. 38th, Scott Schroeder. 39th, Joseph Causey. 40th, Jeff Chandler. 41st is Alan Phillips. 32nd, Connor Banks. We do apologize for the technical woes there. We were able to get it in just in time for the pace car to dip down pit road.
That almost works out for me. I'd rather technical difficulty have something to talk about rather than watch the cars go by at 70 miles an hour whenever we're just sitting here waiting to watch them go by at 180, 190, 200 miles an hour around this 2.67 mile racetrack in Talladega, Alabama. The green flag is flying and we're racing in the Spartan Master Series.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. I just have no doubt about it. I mean, you can just see already the energy on the racetrack. Justin Levine moving down to the bottom side as they enter turn 1 and 2. And I think it's all going to be about formulating, getting together, getting organized. That's what Talladega is all about. As you can see, the bottom lane essentially getting the run, I think, down this back stretch. But I do see the top lane starting to generate some speed, I do believe. Todd Parent leading that outside lane.
What lane gets more organized? What lane actually wants to do the pushing, right? I feel like there's going to be some guys that get into the pack and just kind of breathe off the gas pedal a little bit. Don't push too hard, knowing this is a 112-lap race. Where does that break really start? How much energy is actually going to be in the pack in the early going, finishing up lap number 1? Still a lot of contenders connected to this main group. Only a few stragglers way off in the back, single file. So a lot of these guys up to contend early.
Yeah, and I think right now, we're stage 1. I think a lot of these guys are also going to see what the limits of the car are. I mean, try to figure out how hard can I push without the engine kind of getting too hot. I mean, that's something that we're going to really have to keep an eye on. I'm seeing that top line really starting to generate some momentum, some energy up there. The 69 being pushed by Johan Seminario. And, of course, definitely a very fast driver in Johan Seminario. I do believe he won the stage last week at the racetrack. We saw Justin Levine, of course, run out of gas. So a lot of guys going to be trying to get as much points as they can. And, of course, it's a long season. But every race is going to matter for something here. And I think a lot of these guys know that. I mean, Johan is one of them that that I'm looking to really try to get points.
Yeah, and I think still early in the season, right? You've got to build to your point total, especially if you know you've got the speed, but maybe you didn't get the result that you feel like you should have deserved at the end of that one. We know Johan got put into a wreck later on in the race after winning the stage. So you get a good, 10 bonus points for the stage win, but after that, it only kind of stops the bleeding from what happened later on in the event. So coming into week 2, Talladega, you really don't want to have a double dose of trouble. You want to get as many points as possible and try to stay out of that wreck.
One thing I think we really haven't talked about is how different this next-gen car is from the B car or the, truck when it comes to the draft model. You probably saw it a lot yesterday, Austin, in the A Open and B Open that, Grid Vision broadcasts. Vastly different machines. The B Open is able to really, you could be a second back and still be able to keep the draft and pull back up to the pack. You can't do that in this next-gen car. This next-gen car, it is very easy to lose the draft, and I think that's what we're already seeing. Some guys have already lost the draft about 20 seconds back off the pack.
Yeah, but could that just be playing it safe? You've got a good chunk of cars. It could be. Right? It's not like it's just 2 or 3 cars off in the back. It's about 7, 8 cars that are all lined up nose to tail, and it's a good 42 car field, right? So yeah, you're at least keeping yourself close enough to where, with them being side by side, you should be able to draft back up, especially with the checkups that's going to be happening throughout the pack. But you're far enough back to where you're going to dodge that wreck if it happens, especially in the early going, lap number 5. You would be beating your head against the wall if you got involved in a wreck this early.
No, 100%. But I do think it is going to be a thing we will see, to where drivers will fall off of this pack, and it won't be a voluntary thing. It'll be something that just happens because they made a little mistake, weren't able to keep the momentum. Like I said, if you fall off, I think, above a half a second, now you correct me if I'm wrong, you're pretty much going to lose the draft. I could be wrong, but look at this power duo that are working together here. Justin Levine and Johan Seminario. I do believe they are on the One Sim team, doing a fantastic job right now, working their way up to the lead. Justin Levine, my pick, is going to lead lap number 6, or should I say the conclusion of lap 5.
The ghost of One Sim with them going 1-2 here tonight. It was those two 1-2 1 week ago. At the end of stage number 1, Justin Levine coming out of turn number 4, ran out of gas and gave it away his teammate. Lost a ton of positions coming off the corner. Johan picked up the stage win this week, working together. Instead of running each other out of gas, pushing each other to the front of the field at Talladega.
Yeah, definitely going to want to try to get some sort of redemption here. I mean, I think both Johan and Justin had some things seem to go wrong there towards the end of that race last week. We'll see if they're able to kind of rebound and get their seasons right back on track, as we're seeing that top lane. Todd Parent, he seems like he's got some good speed in that 69 machine. Started up, I do believe, on the front row earlier in this race. Has been able to stay up here in the top 5 for a lot of this. I mean, now he did fall back, but what I'm seeing in that 69, it seems like he does have the capability to drive back to the front.
Oh, nicely done from the 69 on the outside, just pushing through, kind of fading off down to the bottom, kind of forcing himself down to the bottom lane. Levine picking him up now.
Kalen Mitchell just got really, really wiggly. That was almost a bad deal, as we're going to see 3 wide. Mitchell getting kind of hung out to dry. Looks like Mark Sanchez maybe thinking of picking him back up. Sanchez kind of in the middle here. Looks like he is going to go up and possibly work with Kalen here. This is one thing that we're going to see here at Talladega. You cannot be indecisive, and that's what I saw there with the 69. I think the 69 of Todd Parent, he kind of was a little indecisive. He delayed his decision to jump down there in front of Levine, and that in a lot of ways sent a reverberation, an accordion throughout that top group, and that's just something we're going to see tonight. If you make a decision here, Edstrom, you have to do it immediately. You cannot second guess it, as we see a little contact there on the bottom.
Yeah, and as soon as all these guys got scattered, you were talking about decision-making quickly. Levine and Seminario got hooked up immediately after that, powered by the outside of Parent from second and third. Now they run 1-2 once again. Levine, Seminario finding their way to the front of the field. Any opportunity they get one of those 2 cars up in the clean air at the front, completing lap number 8. Still in the early going so far, but they're feeling pretty good. It was almost the second week in a row that we would have seen Caleb Mitchell sideways in front of the field going down into turn number 1. And that's not a good streak to have to start out a season.
Yeah, no, not at all. Of course, Caleb Mitchell, we've seen him in the past on Group Vision, very fast driver. I expect a lot of great things from him this season. Of course, Justin Levine, the Pied Piper, and I think he's going to be up here quite a lot here tonight. I mean, that one machine always is fast at these super speedways. He's got the courage and boldness to make the moves that I don't think a lot of people would make. And right now he's in control, and I think he's going to be one that's going to probably stay in control because a lot of guys, they see that one machine, they see that Justin Levine, they're willing to go with him because they know he's good at these tracks.
So far, it's just his teammate that's going with him, right? So it's it's a little.
I'm saying, I think later we'll see guys that are willing to go with him.
If they stay in the running, you never know where that wreck could come from, too. I feel like
that's true.
Last night, whenever we were broadcasting the A Open and the B Opens, both times there was a setup shop leading each. I'll get back to this thought as the 29 is just flying on the outside.
Wow.
Mark Sanchez from about 10th at the start of this lap to the race lead entering turn 3.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Find your dancing partner. Mark Sanchez, Kenny Powell, and I do believe J.C. Evans, all members of the G&G Gas and Go racing team. New additions to the Spartan Series. They have automatically, they just shot out of a cannon to the front of this field.
Going back to what I was saying, in the A Open and B Open last night, it was setup shops that were dominating each one, a different setup shop in A and B. And at some point through the race, they all wrecked each other, and it just took them all out.
Yeah.
And then it just completely splintered the field. I would be surprised if the same thing didn't happen tonight. I would be shocked if we didn't see just one of each team at the very end of this thing. Maybe there's a team of 2 at the end that ends up winning it. It's going to look like Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick at the end of that one Daytona race where it rained. I mean, it always happens in these things, especially in these 8 cars. These things are volatile as hell, chaotic.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, who knows? I mean, these G&G guys that are up front, I mean, I've seen them. I call the ISCA, which is a series that these G&G guys run in on Thursdays, and I know Kenny Powell's probably going to kick me in the head for saying this, but a lot of times they take each other out. And it could happen here tonight on a Tuesday night, but glad to see those guys. It's so cool that, I called Thursday the ISCA, and these guys are in there as well, and it's just so awesome to be able to call another race that these guys are competing in.
It's fun to have it at Talladega for week 2 also. We got a lot of chaos. We got a lot of fun this week. After the more serious, pretty legitimate style of racing of Kansas in the next gen car, then you get a little bit more craziness and a little bit more flair here at Talladega this week. Just kind of spicing it up. I like the way that the schedule lays out here for us at the end of the season for Spartan. Well, I guess beginning of the Spartan season, into the NASCAR season. But nonetheless, the schedule's looking pretty nice.
I'll tell you one driver that's been closer to the front, at Kansas last week was Chris Hudson in that 43 machine. And that's that 43, we've been seeing a lot of him towards the front. I think that's going to be a guy we're going to see a lot of at the front over this season. Just seems like a very consistent guy in that 43 machine.
He was quick at Kansas last week. He was towards the front, but I think it was either speeding penalty or he spun coming down to pit road. I can't quite remember what it was, but
he was
something
fast.
Something along those lines took him out of the running, and he ended up going a lap down late. But I know that he's got the speed. Not surprised to see him up towards the front. Like I said, there's a little bit more chaos at Talladega, right? And I stick to that, but I still do believe that a lot of the fastest guys at the mile and a halfs, the bigger racetracks, the mile and a halfs, 2 mile racetracks, I really think that they tend to be some of the fastest guys at the super speedways consistently too, even though it's a pretty different skill set.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, this, and I think that's important that you say skill set, because I mean, a lot of people will say, "Oh, this is just all luck," and I do agree that there is some fortune involved in this. Yeah. There is some probability involved in this for sure, but there is also skill involved as well. I mean, a lot of times you see certain drivers at the front of these races, and that can't be just a luck thing. They can't be getting lucky all the time. It took skill to get where they're at, but a lot of times the luck is what ends their race,
And sometimes the lack of skill ends up biting them in the rear after they take the race lead. Sometimes you just go head on in front of the field right after you take the race lead down to turn 1. You just never know. That's just the name of the game. It can get a little crazy. That's where the chaos comes in.
Loving this
Tell about
racing
where
we're
you're
seeing
running.
right now, though. Corey Saucier kind of in control right now on that bottom groove. He kind of slid down in front of Justin Levine. Levine content to push him so far. Mark Sanchez, though, has been leading that top groove, and it seems like the top groove has definitely been able to generate some pretty good runs. I'd love it if we could maybe take a look on board with Kenny Powell. I'm wondering what his temperatures look like. I don't know if we're able to probably see that, but I know we're able to at least see what his visibility looks like. We're not able to see the temperature gauge, of course, which is unfortunate. I wish iRacing would allow us to see that, because I think that's an important piece of the picture. As we see now, the 43 of Chris Hudson drops down to the bottom side. But this is an important view, though. Look at the visibility. This is something that I think a lot of people don't realize is, oh, this is easy. You're just mashing the gas around Talladega. Okay, that's easy. I could do that. I drive on the interstate all the time. But the visibility, this is the biggest problem, Austin. Wouldn't you say?
I would definitely say so. As somebody that runs on a single monitor and on an FOV of 55, so I'm very zoomed in. I cannot see out of my right side window. I have the very tiniest sliver out of the left side window that I can see out of. Visibility is the biggest issue. It's very difficult to deal with. Maybe if you've got it like this, you can kind of get away with it, but you really want to be able to see your sides. You want to be able to see out of your side windows, and it's. I can say from experience.
Wide at Talladega. Yeah. You need to know where you're at. Especially because you don't have a
spotter that tells you that.
Yeah. And that is another thing that gives you help of having a live spotter. If you have a live spotter at a Superspeedway, you're going to be heads in better. You'll be better than a lot of the drivers around you because you're able to have more information. To have that top-down view, that information being given to you is priceless at a Superspeedway. As we see that top lane starting to lose a little bit of their speed, and I think it's because there was some technical difficulties going on with the 9 of J.C. Evans. I think he was having some problems staying solid. So that kind of took a little bit of, I think, the speed out of that top groove. And they also could have started overheating. That's something that, is going to happen here, as we are going to have some lap traffic coming into play here momentarily.
The top groove fell back ever so slightly, then had a slight surge of momentum from the 3. But now, Justin Levine, Johan, Seminario peeking out to the outside. Every time they get the opportunity, both of them get clear. They go for the race lead. They get hooked up together and go for it. Levine back down to the bottom. The 29 of Sanchez, though, he's still hooked up with Powell.
Yeah. And I think they've cooled the engines down and gotten, to be able to run that speed. And that's what we're going to have to see these guys time these runs out. Because, yeah, you can be fast and you can lead some laps. But if you're able to kind of bide your time and be able to get that run of momentum at the right time, that's when you win stages. That's when you win races in this next-gen car. So we see 3 wide a little further back. I do believe, I'm not sure who that was. It was trying to take him 3 wide. I think it was 06 of Ryan Jalick. It looks like he drops back. He lost a couple spots, but he was definitely looking like he was wanting to make something happen. Do want to mention, though, we will have a stage break on lap 45 going to 46. We are getting close, I do believe, probably to the end of the fuel window. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be probably around 25 laps, 60% fuel window here tonight.
Yeah, we're going to have to pit pretty soon. I got to imagine these guys are going to be coming down pit road at the earliest. Lap 22, I feel like, just to split this thing in half. Maybe you get a couple stragglers coming in earlier than that, but most of the front runners still staying out currently. Just now taking lap number 20. Justin Levine currently in the race lead, pretty single file out of the top 6. So you see the first side-by-side battle, and then it's just a couple of lonely side-by-side battles, but we do have a lot of soon-to-be lap cars that the field's about to come up on. We got 4 cars all lined up. Timothy Babcock, Sammy Harrell, Greg Wychinski, Reese Schaefer, all praying for the caution flag or the pit stop.
Yeah, I'm seeing, and one thing I'm noticing, though, this is clear to me that most of the field has, kind of transitioned to the bottom, and I think that's a clear indication that they're going to be doing green flag stops very soon. Because, at Talladega, you can pit side by side here at this racetrack. It's possible to do it, and I think we're going to see it here tonight and even on this next pit stop. But it is a lot easier to kind of find your way to pit road when you're single file on the racetrack, and I think that's what a lot of these guys are kind of wanting to do. They don't want to do anything too crazy.
You don't want to get caught out being on the outside of the racetrack, but also in this big single file line, I can tell you from experience, you want to be as close to the front as possible, right? You want to be able to take as little fuel as possible and be up towards the front. Being at the very end of this line, you risk not being in the fight for the lead after the green flag pit stop. That's where the worry comes from. They're splitting up right in front of the race leaders. Lap cars going side by side. One peeling out in front of Levine. Levine nowhere to go, just into the back bumper, pushing him forward.
Yeah, I do believe that is the 97.
Yeah, Schaefer just getting shoved past the rest of the slower cars on the inside and still on the lead lap.
I mean, this is a best case scenario for these guys that are essentially going a lap down. I mean, at least they are on the back of this pack and they're in the draft. Because that's why you would see someone stay on the bottom. A lot of times, you know, you probably wonder, why is that guy staying on the bottom? He's in the way. Well, the reason they do that is so that they will be absorbed into the pack and be able to at least get up to speed and not lose the draft again. Because if you lose the draft again, you're probably bound to lose another lap. And you don't want that to happen.
Doyle, I'm saying 4. I think 4 of them make at least pretty minor mistakes that lead to something. The green flag pit stops always get just a little nervy. So I'd be a little worried for it.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be something that is going to be scary. And like you were talking about you know, getting on pit road and being worried. Looks like we got some guys coming down now. Do you believe that is Todd Parent coming down pit road? Who's at the 68? I do believe Tom Ringer and George Singer's here coming to pit road. Sailors, I do believe. I'm sorry, Jordan Sailors coming to pit road. So we do have some guys peeling down. And Justin Levine. Oh, we got problems. Contact with the 7, I do believe, of Kenny Powell.
They're going around into 3.
5. We're going to have a caution flag.
The 9 has gone around entering turn number 3. J.C. Evans spun the wrong way on the apron of the racetrack.
Not exactly sure how this came about, but I know I saw some contact earlier. And he almost is getting, I think he might be beached.
That's what I was worried about.
See exactly
I think he's
what
gonna
happened here. He's having some technical woes here.
I think just got off-centered. Just got off-centered going into it. Oh, he's still having issues getting up on the banking.
It could have been a lot worse right there. I got to say that I don't think anyone else really got damaged in that situation. That could have been so much worse right there. That's going to bring our first caution out as we look on board with J.C. Evans. Of course, he was having some technical issues at the time. And I think that could have led to the confusion as well. You can see he just got pushed below the apron a little bit there. And,
yeah, he got pushed to the left and then had to brake to not turn the guy in front of him. And the guy behind him was still all over his back bumper. It's unfortunate. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
And it takes away the green flag pit
unfortunate. Who it's really unfortunate is those guys that pitted under green.
Well,
you know,
if they didn't go a lap down, then they're fortunate. They're going to inherit the race lead because they don't have to pit again.
Yeah. I don't think they did go a lap down.
So they'll be A-okay. They'll be happy. They'll be taking that one to the bank.
Sailors, I think, was the last one that went down pit road of those guys. And I think Reese Schaefer is going to stay on the lead lap because of where he was at the time as well. Timothy Babcock, I do believe, getting the lucky dog.
There you go. So those guys all lucked out. Everybody else having to come down pit road, including your race leaders, Levine, Seminario, Saucier, all down pit road, getting some gas, maybe a couple 2-tire pit stops throughout the field.
And that's another question. Like, what do? You just take fuel only just to kind of get to track position? Because, I mean, at some point, do the tires wear extra?
No, not really.
Over 112 laps, though.
Yeah, they don't. Like I mean, you should definitely take them at some point, just to be sure. Like, there could be maybe a little bit of maneuverability that you gain, but it's going to be pretty negligible all race long. But at the end, I would definitely, you know, I'd rather not be on 105-lap-old tires coming to the end of this thing. You know, pit for tires at 50 and don't take any more. Maybe you take a set of rights just filling up the tank because it takes so long to fill up the tank. But other than that, I wouldn't really worry about the tires too much tonight.
Interesting to note, I'm showing Corey Saucier still out there. I don't think he actually stopped in his box. I'm not sure. It says he was on pit lane for 19 seconds. No time in the pit stall. So Corey Saucier missed his box, and he he is in the lead right now, but he cannot have enough gas. He's going to have to come back down. So
Well, he led
must
that
have been a
lap,
mistake here.
so maybe
yeah,
a bonus point.
Bonus point, yeah.
Bonus point.
Mhm.
I think he might have led before that though, so might be a moot point. I didn't even see a spinner on pit exit. Rev,
I saw
did not see that.
Corey Moore had a little bit of an issue, I think, getting off the pit road. I saw him kind of a little bit wiggly, lost some spots because of it. But other than that, I don't think anybody really had too tough of a time getting off of pit road.
Oh yeah, Moore just got to the outside and looped it back into the pit stall. Didn't hit anything though, and it was only like a little quarter spin. Lost like 2 spots.
Do want to mention as well, J.C. Evans staying on the lead lap, so wasn't as bad for him. He did hit the wall, but I gotta say the car doesn't look as bad as it could have. I do believe this next gen very, very durable when it comes to damage, and he didn't really hit as hard as he could have.
A lot of guys topping off on this pit stop, including your race leaders. Heading over the race lead to Kyle Westwood, Chris Hudson in second. Todd Parent in the 69 in third, David Salter in fourth. So a little bit weird here, seeing a lot of guys come down pit road, but on the next pit stop, you got to think they can take a little bit less gas, so maybe they hold on to a little bit more track position. It's a pretty long strategy game here whenever you come to the super speedways.
Yeah, just to answer a question in the chat there from Dole Lawrence, I do believe we have 4 sets of tires altogether, 3 down in the pits for tonight's race. I don't think they'll use them all. That's for sure.
There's definitely not going to be a reason to use them all. It's just you might come down and take 2 tires here or there just because you're taking fuel, and then you're going to get involved in a wreck, but this thing's a tank, so you can go back out there. So I might as well take 4 tires since I spun out. It'll be stuff like that.
But one of the things I think that would help you by taking tires, during a green flag stop, taking a left sides possibly, just to get off of pit road, because that's one thing that you will be a little bit wiggly on the older tires coming off of pit road, and you don't want a chance possibly spinning, or making a huge mistake. That's just been always my kind of thing to do. But then again, Talladega, it's a lot easier to get off pit road at Talladega than it is at Daytona.
You've got banking down there. You've got banking down there at Talladega that you can use. You can go full throttle and not have to worry. You really cannot Kevin LePage the field here. If you do that, you probably shouldn't be on iRacing. It's a bad one at this place. Yeah, I feel like this is one of the easiest pit exits in the world.
Well, here we go.
iRacing pace car pulling off once again, coming up to hopefully close out the first stage. Coming up to 19 laps to go in that stage. Kyle Westwood up on the pole. Chris Hudson in second to the restart zone. The green flag's flying. We're racing once again. Kyle Westwood to the race lead, clear of it. The 43 ducks down right after the start-finish line into second place. Top 3 single file.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that Westwood went a little bit early, but I think that maybe he was working with the 43, maybe kind of timed that out so the 43 could get behind him, that they could work together. As Westwood now leads onto the backstretch here, and there's virtually no top groove at the moment. I do see 69. He's looking like he's wanting to pop out there, because that Todd Parent seems like he works really good on that higher line. I'm seeing David Saltier, the 28, looking really good on that top lane. I do believe working with Dave Sanders in the 77.
A couple guys hooked up really good on the top. Sanders giving it everything he's got, trying to just shove the back bumper of that number 28. Salter flying through the top side of the racetrack, up to side by side with just about second place. The 43 trying to get up to the race leader to give him a shove, but it's not going to be enough. And Salter is just flying down into turn number 1.
Yeah, the 06 Ryan Jalick sees this momentum, and he moves up to the top lane to see if he can possibly join onto this train as well. Corey Moore is in line with these guys as well. So definitely a nice looking train up top here, as Kyle Westwood, of course, leads the bottom groove.
Westwood leading the bottom groove, but he might not be leading the race for long. Salter is looking really strong on the outside of the racetrack. A little bit squirrely entering turn number 3 between the top 4 of the outside line, all trying to sort themselves out as they come out of the corner. Typically, though, whenever these guys accordion like that and they all get stacked up, it typically forms a pretty big run. Gonna have to wait to see if Salter can get it as we come down to the turn number 1, side by side for third. The 69 help us on the bottom. These guys hooked together.
And it looks like we do have a third groove that is starting to form further back. And look who was leading this third groove. Last week's winner, Joseph Causey, in the 88, trying to make it happen up there up top. As well as you see, I do believe the one of Justin Levine. I talked about it. I said that a lot of times Levine finds himself on up top 3 wide, and that's exactly where he's at right now.
Hey, at Talladega, that's where you got to go. There's plenty of space to do it here. The one sim guys all the way at the top side of the racetrack. 4 of them finally getting closed off. I mean, they were able to get just about side by side into the top 10. 3 wide, 5 rows deep, make it a little bit more.
Ryan Jalick, he saw this coming, and he was like, I got to get up there with these guys.
He said, I'll take that run, thank you very much, as we head down into turn number 1, just about to be 3 wide for the race lead. It's Jalick to the outside, taking the push from the teammates behind. 4 of them lined up, just shoving that number 06.
This is looking like this could be the start of something bad. Race look like this. There's going to be a lot of hurt race cars.
Oh, here we go.
As Jalick moves to the bottom through the middle, he's going to get left out, hanging out to dry right now. And that's going to put Causey in the lead of this top groove.
Jalick they're wrecking further back. The 77 goes spinning off to the inside. The 16 back across the racetrack. In the middle, spinning sideways. Maybe got collected by 1 or 2 others. A couple spinning through the dirt. Wreck coming off of turn number 4, working lap number 30 at Talladega. There's a lot of contenders in the mid-pack involved.
And that was the 16 of Jake Hickson involved in that. Of course, finished second place last week. I do believe started on the pole here this week. So definitely unfortunate for the 16. But the car doesn't look too bad. I don't think a lot of drivers got into them, surprisingly. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened here to start this. You can just see it was that checkup. It was that. It was exactly that accordion effect. You saw the 07, I think it was. After being shuffled off that top groove, came down in front of the 28 of Salter, and unfortunately, it just the checkups. Someone's bound to make a mistake with those kind of that difference in speed. That's what is so scary about Talladega. Look at how much slower the 06 is going there.
It really did just cause a huge stack up. Can't really blame faults on anybody. Everybody's just pushing. And they're just pushing what they can see, and unfortunately, it's a huge stack up. These things just have massive runs that you can't do anything about. And that was just doomed to be a big one. Charles Van Schack involved, Darrell Klotz, Jake Hickson, Tom Ringer, Corey Moore, all involved in this one. I think I'm missing a couple of them. Corey Saucier involved in it. Dave Sanders, left front damage. I mean, a lot of guys. Taken out with that one. I mean, they're going to be able to get a good bit of that damage fixed. Robert Besaw involved too. Kevin Zosiak. They're going to get a lot of it finished or fixed, but are you really going to be able to have enough to challenge 30 other guys in here who are still A-okay and their cars are still clean? I don't know. It's going to be tough.
No, it's really tough.
Well, working lap number 32 under caution. We're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break of the race tonight. Whenever we come back, we're going to have the end of stage number 1.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Spartan Masters Series, working lap number 33 of 45 in stage number 1. I'm Austin Edstrom with Brian Britt and Austin Derbyshire behind the production booth. And well, we're about to get stage number 1 finished up here, Brian, and I think it's going to be a good one.
Oh, I definitely think it's going to be a good one for sure. Pace car, though, getting ready to dip down pit road as we're going to have, I do believe, 12 laps here left in stage 1.
Kyle Westwood up in the race lead, coming out of the restart zone once again here tonight. Can we get this thing green all the way to the stage finish? We're about to find out. Kyle Westwood back to the gas, and we're racing once again in Alabama.
What a great race so far. It's been highly, highly, highly competitive. I've been looking at that 88 of Joseph Conzi. I'll tell you, I should have picked him. He has been looking stout here tonight, as he's, of course, right to the back bumper of Kyle Westwood as the top line tries to get going here with Reese Schaefer, I do believe, leading that top. Or actually, no, he's on the bottom behind Conzi, I should say. Chris Hudson leads that top group.
You think they're going to let Kazi go back-to-back at a Superspeedway?
I don't know, man. I mean, he was very stout last week at Kansas. I mean, was able to control that top groove like no one else could. And here he goes back to the top again here at Talladega.
Joseph Kazi taking the race lead with a bump from his teammate Reese Schaefer. They kept him on the lead lap earlier, and now Schaefer is repaying the favor to Joseph Kazi, pushing him to the race lead whenever we come down to 11 laps to go in the stage.
Isn't that just crazy how quick your fortunes can change, how quick your race can just turn a 180? I mean, Reese Schaefer was bound to go a lap down earlier, and now he is up here in contention for possibly a stage win.
He was 2 car lengths from being a lap down just about 20 laps ago, but now instead he's up in second place all over the back bumper of his teammate. These guys have a lockout at the front of the field in the first 2 spots, but the 43 doesn't look too happy about it. Chris Hudson, he's been quick the first 2 weeks of the season. He wants the race lead now from Kazi on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, that bottom lane started really, really forming up, and Chris Hudson saw that. He was like, I got to jump in front of these guys now, and I love that he did not take any time at all to make that decision. That's what you have to be in a Superspeedway. You cannot be indecisive. You have to make decisions at a moment's notice, and that's exactly what the 43 did. He jumped down in front of Maines at just the right time.
Hudson got the perfect draft from Maines, took the race lead, but coming out of the trial, but they got disconnected. The 43 a little twitchy coming across the start-finish line. Let the outside groove get hooked back up. Kazi and Schaefer pushing themselves back down to the race lead as we enter turn number 3. Kazi a little bit lower on the racetrack. The 43 on the tighter side, getting a better run with a draft from the 5. Maines all over the back bumper of the 43.
Oh.
Schaefer now hitting Kazi as we come out of 4.
I'm not liking the way this
wreck in
bottom
the
one
37 goes around. Huge wreck in the middle of the field. Johan involved. Last week's stage 1 winner. I believe the 69 also involved in there as well. About 10 cars going around, maybe more.
Wow.
As we come through the tri-oval.
That was some massive damage. Kendall LeBron, his race has got to be over because, I mean, he smacked that wall so hard.
Kenny Powell, Ryan Jalick, Kayla Mitchell, Colby Jackson.
That's like half the field involved in that one. That was a big one.
Dakota Jorgensen, Ryan Jalick, David Salter. I mean, that was a lot of the field. Scott Schroeder involved as well.
Ugh.
JC Evans again. I mean, that we're getting into a long laundry list of cars involved, and again, it's just a big stack up on the bottom side.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's exactly what happened there. I mean, it just a stack up on the bottom, and it was just so sudden. Things go wrong in a matter of milliseconds at this racetrack. As we're looking at the bottom side, you can see just a little bit of a checkup right in front of Seminario. Seminario just keeps pushing him. But then the guy behind Seminario is probably checking up, but the guy behind Seminario is not. It's all about visibility. What can you see? What could the guy behind Seminario see? Could he see that there was an issue forming?
I don't think so. And I think if Johan wasn't getting shoved, I don't think that he gets wrecked also, right? If he's on the gas, I think he just drives right through the guy in front, but instead they both go spinning to the right. And again, that's not a fault on the 14 behind him either. It's just the nature of the beast. Yeah, you can't see the guy in front of you. The checkup happens so fast. How are you going to get on the brake in time? And then even if you do, the guy behind him's not going to get on the brake in time. So Alan Phillips, it went off of his nose, but I feel like you can't even blame him, man. It's just the nature of the beast of the next gen car at Talladega.
It is, and one of the things is that you can push the pusher in this car, and in other vehicles past, the Gen 6, the Xfinity, the truck, you can't push the pusher in those vehicles. You can do it in this car, but that makes it even more dangerous because you're connected with the guy in front of you, and whatever happens to him, you're going right into it. And it's just it's unfortunate to say the least. There's a lot of cars going to be spending a lot of time on pit road trying to fix these machines. That's unfortunate too for Johan Seminario as well. Just a lot of damage probably for him. Last week, stage 1 winner. This week, might not even finish the stage.
These cars are tanks. So I feel like a lot of these guys can at least stay in it and can stay in the draft, especially with how many cars we have in the field tonight, right? There's so many cars. There's going to be a lot of energy in the pack. But can you compete? Or do you have a car that can get up there inside of the top 10 and make moves? That's the difference. If you can't make any moves, I don't think that you can win this race. That's the deciding factor. So are these guys points racing for the rest of the night, or do they have something to fight with?
No, that's a good point. No, that's a really good point. I mean, I think a lot of these guys, in the draft is the great equalizer in a lot of ways. And if you can just at least stay hugged up on somebody's back bumper, you might still be able to make some competitive speed. But the time will tell. The test will be when you get into the lead. If you ever get clean air on your nose, that will be when that damage will show up, because that's when the aerodynamics really shows up. But it really just depends. Did these guys that were involved in that crash, did they get major engine damage? Did they get any toe damage, suspension damage, that kind of thing? That's one of those things that, it's going to be tough to come back from. But, you can spend some time on pit road. I mean, I don't think this is the last caution we're going to have. And one good thing about Talladega, you do have a lot of time to fix your race car.
Yeah, these pace laps are almost excruciatingly long. So you get a lot of time, and we got that stage break coming up in a couple laps. So even if you got involved in this thing, you're going to be able to get 3-4 minutes fixed. Now, if you've got 4 minutes of damage, you've probably got some that can't be fixed, which is definitely frustrating. But if it's minor damage that you just can't get bent out, then it's not the end of the world, right? I feel like you can still have a good chunk of speed, still make the moves that you need to win the race. So it just all depends. How many hits did you take? Where'd you take them to? Did it avoid the wheel well? If you hit the fenders on these things, you hit the door, whatever, not a big deal. Hit the bumper, smack that thing as many times as you like. You're not gonna hurt that thing. But if you smack me in the wheel, I might cry.
That's definitely a very good point. I feel like, the corners of these vehicles are the most vulnerable. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, even in the real life, to where these guys can tank it, take a beating. But if you hit it at just the wrong point, it's almost like the Death Star, hitting it in the weak point, using the Force or something like that. How I know I'm going off on a tangent, but how when Luke has to hit that certain area on the Death Star to blow it up, it's almost how these cars are. You have to, if you hit that wheel well or you break that toe link, that car is going to have some problems.
Now the entire
went
time I
there.
race from here on forward, I'm going to be thinking I'm Darth Vader and I'm protecting the 4 holes on the Death Star.
That's
So
right.
thank you,
There you
Brian.
go. Yes, sir. No
That's
problem.
the analogy. That's the metaphor I'm going with out of this. Protect the Death Star. Thank you, Brian. Coming back to the restart.
Yes,
6 laps to go in the stage. Joseph Kazi up in the race lead. Reese Schaefer, his teammate, on the outside line. How do they form up on this restart? Can they get together and work together once again? Green flag flying. Kazi out to a huge race lead. Does he jump up to help his teammate?
That would be the smart thing to do. Looks like he's going to stay low, though. No, he is. He's gonna. It took a little while for him to decide to do it. I think he's trying to see where the speed's at, and he sees it the bottom lane seems to have the speed, so he jumps down there. This is kind of one of those Pied Piper type of things to do. You know, you just, where's the energy? I want to be where the energy's at, and I think that's exactly what Kazi's doing.
Kazi blocks the top side. Schaefer right into the back bumper. The 43 able to stay off the back of Schaefer, preventing an accident. These guys, huge checkup on the outside groove, going backwards. Levine able to find a hole. 3 teammates lined up on the outside groove. Can they fight off the guys on the inside? Get back to the race lead in the next 5.5 laps.
Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely when it's go time. This is when I think the energy is going to be at its highest for the next 5 laps. I mean, this is for a stage win. This is for some major points in the season championship. As you can see some movement, Jordan Saylor's jumping down to the bottom. As the bottom groove is really just almost like to have a parachute on.
Oh, they're wrecking further back in the pack. Hard into the outside wall. 2 cars go. 3 cars involved in the wreck. Sliding back down the banking. Couple cars coming on. No caution flag flying yet. Finally, the yellow flag is out. Jalik slow on the inside of the racetrack. Only a couple laps left in stage number 1. That might do it for the stage.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So it was looking like we were going to stay green there, but I'm not sure exactly what happened here. We're going to see and find out. You see just a massive run that I think that was Seminario was getting, and unfortunately, wow, look at this. Oh,
just wrecked behind him. I don't know what happened. The 6 looked like he got loose.
And it looked like we could have stayed green. I think we could have probably stayed green, surprisingly. I'm wondering if maybe just somebody slowed down just enough to cause that yellow.
What happened? Coming down into 1.
You see Seminario makes a big run, but that's not what caused this.
The 6 got hit. The 6 got hit, sorry, by the blue. The 6 got slowed down because he gave a bump, and the 15 came up and got into the back. Kevin Zosiak got to the back of him, sent him sideways, and unfortunately that caution flag is going to be flying. I missed that on the first go-around.
Yeah.
Big checkup.
Man, and I'm surprised. That was you know, the damage is probably not too bad on Zosiak, but the other guys definitely took a big hit in that wreck there. I'm wondering. I don't think that's gonna be it for the stage. I'm not exactly sure.
Might have a 1-lap shootout.
Might have a 1-lap shootout.
Yep.
Some guys coming to pit road here.
So these guys coming down pit road, topping off the fuel tank, maybe getting some tires. Kazi, your race leader, taking 2 on the right side. Does he take 4? Does he call it quits after just the 2? He pulls away from his box. So it looks like a lot of the field might be taking 2 tires. The 14 did the same as your race leader.
All right, so who's going to win the race off of pit road? Looks like it's Devin Maines is able to win the race off pit road. That's where it looks like stage has been called. And I do believe Joseph Causey, that makes him the stage 1 winner.
So backing up his win last week with a stage number 1 victory here at Talladega, pretty good way to back it up. And, you know, I said earlier, are these guys really going to let him do it at a Superspeedway? Well, they let him do it in stage number 1. Can he finish it out a little bit later on in the event? Still a long ways to go.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how the rest of this race goes. I mean, if we I think we have a long green run possibly possibly in the future here. And if that's the case, it's all going to come down to fuel management, pit strategy. And this changes it up quite a bit, Austin. I mean, with this being the stage end, it's premature. It's a little early for the stage end, and it might change the strategies for a lot of these drivers.
70 laps to go. So we think the pit window is what, 25 laps? So I'm thinking it's just a 2-stop to the end. So we should be, I think it would have been a 2-stop either way. So I think it's not switching anything up too major. It's just switching up when you're coming down pit road, I'd say, and how much fuel you're taking.
It just depends, like how much actually is the fuel window. That's something I really don't know. I mean, to be honest, I haven't done an A Open this week. I don't know what the actual fuel window is for a 100% fuel tank. Austin, do you know?
It's about 38 laps, 37 maybe.
38. So 60% of that, I mean, it would probably be around 25, right? I mean, maybe 22, 23. I'm going to do a little math.
Maybe 22, 23.
We got our producer going to be doing some calculation for us. I do believe, Austin, did you say it was 38 laps on the normal fuel window?
I believe so. I believe so, yeah.
60% fuel. So it sounds like right around 22 to 23 laps is about what you can make it. Now, of course, that would be dependent on where you're at in the pack. If you are up in the lead, you're going to be burning up more fuel. You're the one that's going to have to cut through the air. The air resistance or friction causes more burning in that fuel tank.
Now you say we can only make it 22, but man, we were pushing it a little bit longer.
Yeah,
than
they
that,
were
right
going
in
a
that
little
first
bit longer.
stage. So, or at the beginning of the first stage. So maybe you can make it a little bit longer than I'm predicting. Maybe it was 39,
So I was
40,
thinking
but
it's like maybe
either
40,
way,
yeah. But either
I
way,
mean,
it's going to be
it
about
only add
20.
a lap. Like,
Yeah, 25 maybe.
So we'll have to wait and see. How does it change the
For
fuel?
sure.
Does it change it at all? Are these guys going to be pressed for time whenever we have to make the green flag pit stops? Do we even have to make the green flag pit stops? There's still a lot of cars out here we can wreck.
Yeah, definitely still a lot of cars that we can wreck. That's a good point. As here we go. Let's see if we wreck some more.
I think we might have a little bit of a tame phase. I think we might just get a little bit of green flag running here. Devin Maines up in the race lead in that bright pink, number 5, coming up to the restart zone here tonight. Back to the zone, back to the green flag. Devin Maines back to the gas. We're racing once again. Talladega coming across the stripe, side by side for the 2 race leaders. Causey not letting them get away, and he's got some pretty good help behind.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's been really doing well being linked up with Reese Schaefer in the 97. See, of course, the 77 of Dave Sanders. He's been a really fast race car as well. Greg Wyszynski, this guy was a lap down earlier in this race. Now he's up in the top 10. So what a job for the 87.
Classic Superspeedway racing, and I think we're seeing a lot of guys starting to get a little bit more nervous further back in the pack. A good chunk outside of the top 25 have separated themselves massively from the lead pack. Already a couple seconds back. Probably the smart move at this point. We've seen it be a pretty big war of attrition. One guy peeling off, coming down to pit road.
Probably a penalty. Probably serving a penalty or something like that. One thing about this series that, I don't think we really have talked about is that the race control is very strict. These guys will, if you get too many X's, they'll force you to go down pit road, or you'll have a drive-through. So that's something that these guys are probably having to deal with right now, because there's been enough accidents to where I think some of these guys have gotten too many incident points. I mean, you have a limit that you can get, and the race control will force you to go down pit road.
That was Daryl Klotz that Derek Lotz that came down pit road there. Not sure if he had a black flag. I'm not seeing one given by race control. So not too sure what happened to Daryl, but he's still on pit road as they're racing up front for the race lead. Joseph Ghazi still fighting for it. The guy that led him back down to the green flag, Devin Maines, on the bottom side, trying to fight back, but man, he just does not have the help that the top side has right now, going down to 1.
Yeah, we almost saw some issues there on that third lane. I think Dave Sanders and do you believe that is Kalen Mitchell were having a tough time not working together very well. But it looks like Causey trying to get control of this race, working that middle groove. Of course, has Reese Schaefer and Justin Levine in line.
Maines was running even with Causey down the back straightaway, but almost looked like he just hit the brake pedal a good chunk. Coming down into turn number 3, I mean, the inside line stacked up pretty heavy out of nowhere. Didn't quite know what happened there from the 5. Maybe he was trying to drag the brake and just hit it a little hard, but bit of a checkup that you don't necessarily want going down into turn number 3. Could cause a huge wreck.
And that is something you see sometimes is, dragging the brake. That way, that guy can kind of physically touch you more and be able to push you a little bit better. I mean, but you can, I guess, touch it a little bit too hard, and that might have been what happened. I am a little worried about this bottom lane,
right? Like, you just feel like if you do that too hard too many times, you're just dragging that lane backwards.
That's true. I think you could definitely do it too much and take a lot of the momentum out of that back driven. And it's such a dangerous thing, like you said. Anytime you see a kind of a checkup on the bottom lane, that's usually where you see a lot of accidents happen. Is when the caution flag is out for some reason here, and I'm not sure why.
I think it was involved in the second pack. Not sure exactly who it was, but somebody slowing off the pace. I saw smoke. I just have not been able to find the car.
Yeah, I am not sure. Maybe Mark Sanchez. I'm seeing some heavy front end damage for him. I'm not sure. This is definitely in the second pack because it's, yeah. Let's see if we could find out exactly what happened here. See Johan with some major connection issues.
Linky boy action coming out of the corner. Does he just hook Babcock?
Oh, yeah, Sanchez. It definitely. So Sanchez has some major front end damage. That's why I thought it was him, because he's got major front end damage, just like Zodiac maybe gets into the 29. So unfortunate. And this is not even. What's crazy about this is not even in the main pack.
Chalik really just right hooked him too. Obviously, I don't think it was intentional, but man, he came down the racetrack and destroyed him.
Yeah, you see right there. So yeah, it was. We thought it was Zodiac, but actually it was Ryan Jalik, the 06. And unfortunately, 6 has been involved in a lot of stuff here tonight.
I don't want you in my race anymore. Goodbye. That's what that feels like.
That was. I mean, he was pushing him pretty good. Got a good run. I guess he tried to take the run higher on the. That's unfortunate for Mark Sanchez. I mean, we got to think Sanchez at one point in this race was in the lead. So it's just unfortunate.
For sure. And I got to point out, I don't actually think Jalik did that on purpose. Just
no, not at all.
Off-centered, just got off-center coming out of turn number 4 and tried to come back down. Unfortunately, just didn't realize that he wasn't clear anymore. And got the right rear. Everybody coming down pit road, though. You want to stay topped up on fuel. That's kind of the strategy at the super speedways. Every yellow flag, come down. Might as well pit. So easy to get track position. So come down, take a fuel tank. But a couple people didn't.
Especially with the 60% gas, too. That just makes it even more valuable to go down and grab as much gas as you can put in there. I mean, put some in your mouth and in your pockets. I mean, just wherever you can fit gas.
If you're listening at home, do not put any gasoline in your mouth.
I was getting ready to say that.
Don't listen to Brian. He is from South Carolina. Don't listen to those people. Don't.
I do not. Yeah, do not try it at home. It will not help you with fuel mileage. You'll end up going to the hospital.
There's a reason why NASCAR started in the Carolinas, because they drink the gasoline. And I thank them for it. But we don't need to spread the knowledge here, Brian.
Yeah, do not do anything I say. Definitely not.
Either way, working lap number 50 under caution once again tonight. PB Henry, currently your race leader. We haven't really talked about PB tonight so far. He had a pretty quiet night at Kansas. Yeah, hasn't really done too much tonight, but he's kept his nose clean. I don't really see a scratch on the front end of that thing.
Yeah, no, I mean he qualified really well last week at Kansas. I think he started on the pole, if I'm not mistaken, but quickly fell back. I think he had a quiet day last week at Kansas as well. But you know, trying to have a good day to here tonight. You know, very fast driver. I've seen him in competition. Very fast driver, high I rating, very talented.
Oh man.
Uh-oh. What'd I do? Currently rated 93 octane. Uh-oh, somebody's drinking some gas. Oh no. Please do not drink gas. I'm getting ready to have some legal action put against me. But here we go. Pace car lights are out. PB Henry going to be leading us to green here. Now, of course, he has 9 laps on his stint. So these guys, the top 4, are about 9 laps into this stint. Of course, I would say they've been running under caution, so they're not really 9 laps into the stint, but they are a little bit. They're going to have a little less gas to play with than the,
Well, it depends. It depends. How much gas do they have in their belly?
If they drink gas, I mean, you know,
they could have a little bit of extra in the tank. Push this thing just a little bit further. PB Henry up in the race lead. Charles Van Schack, he was involved in one of the earlier incidents in the first 20 laps. That the car I thought was pretty hurt. I thought he might be down and out, but he's gotten that thing fixed up to the top, into the second place position. So good recovery so far from Van Schack, but it's not over. Still a long way to go. Not even to the halfway point. James Staples, haven't really touched on him yet tonight either. Kevin Zosiak involved in an incident earlier. Reese Schaefer almost went a lap down back into the top 5. Justin Levine hovering around the top 10 all night. Same with Kazi. Vsauce, Sailor, Sanders, the rest of the top 10. A lot of those names we just haven't really mentioned tonight. They haven't been up towards the front. So a lot of new guys, new faces, showing themselves at the front of the field. Can any of them challenge the guys that has established themselves up here? PB Henry going to be the first guy with the chance as the iRacing pace car pulls off. Coming down to 61 laps to go as we come across the start-finish line. PB Henry up to the restart zone. The green flag flying, and he's back to the gas, and we're racing once again.
Yeah, very good start there for him. He's going to try to he looked like he was going to jump up in front of the 00. I think he is going to do that. As they enter turn number 1, you see the 24 James Staples getting pushed by Justin Levine on the bottom side. Big head of steam from the bottom. I think they're going to clear and get this lead taken care of. Of course, Reese Schaefer working with Levine as well. We see Joseph Kazi. So definitely a very fast group of cars on the bottom.
They're wrecking further back into the outside wall. The 23, I believe, into the outside fence. A couple guys cutting it close, just skating by. My word.
That's unfortunate. I'm not sure why these guys can't keep it green for a little bit here. I mean, already issues. We didn't even get up to full speed, I don't believe. We see issues already. Let's see exactly what happened here. See the 23? Okay.
He just completely crowded him up the racetrack. I mean, goodness.
He thought he was clear. He just was not clear at all. And now, of course, was Chad Kibbe in the 23 machine. Unfortunate. I mean, just wasn't clear at all. And that kind of goes back to my point earlier about being indecisive. I mean, him going up the track was very slow. He was doing it very gradually. And if you were going to do that, if you're going to jump in front of someone like that, you got to do it fast. Ooh, look at how close that was. It showed up a little bit of damage there for a second, but I think somehow the car kind of rebounded and fixed itself there.
That was really because the guys in front didn't move over to the left whenever they see 2 cars stopped against the wall. I don't know why we're waiting until the last second to swerve so the guys behind can't see, but that kind of happened there. 6 running into him. But either way, caution flag back out. So we're going to go ahead and take another step away here. Be sure to stay with us. We got a lot more racing action whenever we come back to you right after the other side of this break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Spartan Masters Series at Talladega Superspeedway. We're still working under caution here. Getting ready to get this thing restarted as the field is getting regrouped down in turns 1 and 2. Justin Levine back up in the race lead. A couple more pit stops, cycling themselves out as the field is starting to take shape once again. But again, still going to be a lot of strategy in this thing. Still think we're going to see a few cautions. So the fuel games are going to be continue to be played throughout the course of this thing until that last pit stop's made.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that we see a green flag stop. I really want to see some sort of, a green flag stop to see who's able to nail the strategy, who's able to execute. I think that's going to be the big thing here. I mean, I really think we're going to have us a green run here, hopefully. I mean, we've seen some kind of silly accidents.
You didn't sound super confident there.
I probably didn't at all. I usually wear my my emotions on my sleeve. I'm hoping. What I should say is I hope we have a green flag run.
I like that. That was truthful. I'll give you points for that. It was it was more from the heart. So now we don't expect it, but we're hopeful. We're hopeful that we're going to get that nice long green flag run. Still a lot of guys involved in this thing. 35 guys on the lead lap. Man,
wow.
still a ton of the field intact, even with all the accidents. That's how we've had a ton of attrition. But this car's a tank. This car is a tank. A lot of guys still involved in the mix for the race win here tonight. Justin Levine up in the race lead. Green flag's flying. We're racing once again.
Yeah, good start from everybody there. Reese Schaefer able to get up through the gears pretty quick as well. Justin Levine, of course, pretty dead even on this bottom and top lane. And not a surprise. I mean, I feel like Levine, very good. Kazi, very good pusher. You can see right there, Kazi just giving some great bumps to the back end of the one machine. They move up in front of Schaefer. Ooh, that was a little bit of a scary transition up to the top. But Schaefer, of course, going to give him plenty of room.
Teammates lined up top. A couple of them fading down to the bottom, but then working their way back up to the top of the racetrack. That's Justin Levine, Joseph Kazi leading the way. Apparently the only guys clear of the rest of the field, choosing the top side of the racetrack, choosing to help out their teammate, trying to get the 97 clear as well. Do they all pick the bottom? They do. They come down the racetrack, close off the door, and leave the outside open.
I got to be honest. I don't know if I like that. If I was in their shoes, I would want to stay on the top. I feel like most of the time you're going to see guys pass you on the top. That's where the passes are going to come from. I feel like if I want to stop people from passing me, I'll run the top.
You can always throw the block. You can always throw that last second block up there and give them the bumper.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying it. A lot of times the runs that are going to be generated are going to be from that top group. So, but I mean, it looks like the top lane though has essentially disintegrated for the most part. We're single file throughout the top 10. Oh yeah, it definitely will. It definitely will. There's some committed individuals up there. I mean, I see Jordan Sailors, Dave Sanders, Corey Moore, Greg Wachinski up there on that top groove.
And I mean, there's going to be some more guys. One guy pops out of line and takes the run even further.
They see the momentum and they're like, oh, I got to go up there.
It's going to be tough with the three teammates out front on the bottom, but even then, I feel like they're just pushing up here easily, and they have way less cars.
They're already running fast. That's what I was talking about with Levine, Kazi, and Schaefer. I'm like, why did they move down to the bottom? I would have stayed high. That way, this can't happen. But like you said, they can do a last-minute block, but I don't. That's a dangerous thing to do. Well,
I feel like the bottom lane would come back too like that. Honestly, in this next gen, the bottom lane comes back. You'll be riding on the top side, and then all of a sudden 5 cars just come storming by you on the bottom. So I don't think you're safe either way you do it. But here comes the run on the outside. Sailors is trying to sail on by, coming down into turn number 1 to the outside of Kazi, the stage 1 winner. Not going to put up too much of a fight, trying to give the bumper to Levine, push him down the back straightaway, but the 55 has got the momentum coming down the back.
Yeah, Jordan Sailors definitely looking really, really good here. And I'm not as familiar with Sailors as I am some of these other drivers out here. It definitely looks like he's got a lot of speed in that machine. I know he's got he's a big part in this series, in the Spartan, brand itself. As you can see, even some Spartan kind of logos on that race car, as he's now going to be in control, possibly maybe leading this lap. No, it looks like Levine going to surge ahead. He jumps up in front of Sailors. Now Kazi leading the bottom lane.
Maybe 2 teammates thinking it would be better to lead both the lines rather than...
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just Levine throwing big blocks, going back down to the bottom on his teammate. Sailors getting close off there for a moment.
Levine's like, I'm bored. I'm going to switch lanes.
It's a little bit more fun whenever you're able to turn left and right down the straightaways here. Able to throw some mean blocks there. The outside line getting completely shattered after that. The front 2 getting hooked up. Kazi with a big bumper to Justin Levine, kind of leaving a couple of these guys in the dust. But again, you get that separation. You get the separation, and then they come storming back.
Speaking of lefts and rights, though, next week, heading to the Charlotte Roval here in the series.
I'm a pretty big fan of the Charlotte Roval. I'm looking forward to the new format, not format, but track layout. I'm looking forward to the new track layout in real life. I don't think we've gotten an iRacing yet. But I'll be looking forward to the new sharp corner, new passing zone they got out there. I think it'll be interesting to get that on here as soon as they rescan it or whatever they got to do. I think it's a long time coming. Maybe they'll update it before the race. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
they already have, and
be,
I'm just ignorant.
Wouldn't be a surprise. I mean, I guess we'll see when the transition happens to week 5. But Justin Levine in control right now. We're seeing some 3 wide a little bit further back. I see Greg Wyszynski in the middle. Corey Moore, they're 4 wide right now.
4 wide further back in the pack. They get it sorted out down to 3 before we come off of turn number 2. So we should be okay coming out on the outside. That's Caleb Mitchell trying to force his way by. We were 3 wide a little bit further up. Causey tried to throw a block on the outside groove, but it just wasn't enough. Reese Schaefer up there instead of the number 97 getting pushed to the race lead around Justin Levine.
Yeah, this is definitely getting pretty scary. Starting to see a lot of momentum, a lot of chaos being sown out here at Talladega. And, of course, the name of this race, I do believe, is the Indian Burial Ground 112. So they do say this track was built on an Indian burial ground. A lot of people did die in the construction of this track as well.
Yeah, the stories of this racetrack are pretty crazy. It makes sense that this place was a hallowed ground for so long, and is still one of the most feared racetracks. I mean, the racing here is just absolutely mental. Unfortunately, the package in real life, not quite what we see on the iRacing service, because what we see tonight, what we saw last night, what we'll be seeing Friday night is just absolutely insane. Levine going back up to the outside of the racetrack, covering off, regrouping with his teammates, leaving the inside to Robert Visaw. Oh, and they're wrecking further back.
Caution
Huge wreck.
is out.
Coming through turn 4 here at Talladega. Multiple drivers involved. PB Henry sliding down to the infield grass. A couple other guys spinning down to the apron as we come off of turn number 4.
Big damage on PB Henry. That car is decimated. The right front. Ooh.
Timothy Babcock might have been involved.
What happened? Oh, and that's just a bad bump from Johan Seminario into the back end of, I do believe that was PB.
Big stuttering.
I think I see Corey Moore with some major damage. So a lot of drivers involved in that one, and just a bad bump. I mean, I think I saw, Henry, I think, checked up a little bit on that higher lane, and Seminario just gave him a little bit of a bad bump, and it all went from there.
Hunter Banks, Sammy Harrell, PB Henry all involved in that one, coming through 3 and 4. Man, it's been tough in the middle of the field. It just takes one little bad bump to cause off a big accident, man. I mean, this whole field is packed up really tight, 40 guys all gunning for it, and one bad bump for 20th gonna take out 5 guys.
Yeah, unfortunate, that's for sure. And it's just it's terrible. I mean, to see these guys early in this season to already have bad races. I mean, I'm sure some of those guys as well have had bad race probably last week at Kansas, and trying to get a good finish here at Talladega. I mean, this place in a lot of ways is a lot like a dice roll. The cards are handed to you. You could try your best to stay out of trouble, but there's no safe place. I mean, that's why we have that third key, don't die, as we have a little bit of some connection issues here. Hopefully we're able to get those ironed out.
We might take a little step away to try to get the connection issues ironed out. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Spartan Master Series. We're hoping whenever we go green, a couple of these issues are going to iron themselves out. A couple guys coming down pit road here at the very end, stopping at the end of pit lane, trying not to get a penalty. Getting a little bit of a top off on fuel right at the very end, making me think we might be right on the edge of a fuel window.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. We have, I do believe, about 50 some odd laps left to go, you know, right around 50 to 60. South Carolina math, you know.
I love it.
Definitely. So, yeah, no, and I think these guys, that's why they went down and topped off. They just want to make sure that they can make it.
Answer's a little bit less than that, by the way. So it was South Carolina math, indeed.
Yeah, definitely South Carolina math.
There's about 46 to go. But who's counting?
I was trying.
We'll throw it in the good try pile.
Oh boy. Robert Beasall Jr. though at the front of this field. Haven't seen a whole lot of him. You know, that 3 machine lately has been running towards the front here at Dega. Just haven't seen him you know, towards the beginning of this race. So glad to see him kind of running well here. Chris Hudson, who was at the front of this field earlier, now back up to the front. Glad to see him. He's always seems to be fast at these super speedways, it seems, from what we've seen at least. And, of course, people laughing at me in the chat. Appreciate you, Thomas Kumacheski, good friend of mine.
Now they're understanding what it's like to laugh at Brian. It's a very fun pastime, guys. Very fun pastime. What could be better?
What could be better?
Maybe watching Robert Beasall on this restart. Maybe this is the one that runs green. You never know until you wait and watch. The green flag is flying. Can this be the one? Excuse me. Robert Beasall. Back to the green flag. Can we stay green?
I sure hope so. Chris Hudson, though, drops down behind the 3 and looks like, for the most part, top 5 single files out. See Kyle Westwood working with Greg Wachinski, trying to make something happen there. Got to find your dancing partner. I think that's what they're trying to do.
And a lot of guys single filing out, surprisingly. Not too much action on the outside of the racetrack just yet. Does anybody find each other? Are there a couple people that's a little bit more hungry throughout the field? Because right now it's spread out.
Justin Levine, 3 wide up top.
Well, that's not too much of a surprise. He put a little bit of extra fuel in it, so maybe he thinks he can gun it a little bit harder. But to be fair, that 1 lap of extra fuel under caution, not going to save you all that much whenever you go out there and burn it up on the first lap on the outside.
That's definitely true. That's one thing we got to keep in mind. You know, of course, it's a longer distance around the racetrack. As you see those guys working. I know earlier in this race we saw Conzi do this on that top groove, and those guys were like they were shot out of a cannon. Can they recreate that?
The difference here is everybody's lined up on the inside, so there's nobody that's side drafting that inside lane up towards the front. So they're they're keeping a better speed up towards the front of the field, a higher speed. So it makes it a lot more difficult to build a run. You're going to have to really get connected and give a good shove, but the problem with that is you're going to overheat pretty quick, and then you're going to go backwards if you don't have anybody following you. So you've got to be pretty careful working from the back of this field whenever they're not double file. It's just tough to actually make up the ground.
For sure. I definitely think we'll see some energy in this pack eventually. I think it's starting to form now. I mean, I'm seeing Corey Saucier and the 18 machine trying to get that top group working as well. More numbers. That's going to help them. That's for sure.
So a couple guys not willing to settle in the back, but Saucier gets a little sauced up coming down into turn number 3. Causey to the outside. His teammates follow him through. Reese Schaefer, Justin Levine, and then Kalen Mitchell all to the outside. Saucier just having to drop back to the inside groove.
You deserve an award for what you just said.
You like that?
I really did like that. Corey Saucier, sauced up. I like that. That was good.
He got put 3 wide coming down to turn 3. Poor guy just got shoved back to the back. He thought he might have had a free ticket to the front, but instead Causey put him back down to the inside groove.
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe they should have stuck with him because I mean, it seems like I think the momentum was starting to work for them. But you know, you make decisions. But here, look at this run of speed they're gathering up now.
It's
you
working.
can just see some energy, and there goes
Oh,
the
man.
driver jumping up in front of them, and the momentum difference is insane.
It's tough. Like, you want to throw that block, but they're coming at such a rate of speed that you throw the block. If they hit you, you might just go around. Ozzy's just going to continue it up to the top side. I mean, they got a freight train going around the top side of the racetrack here at Talladega, picking off a ton of spots. Most drivers just settling back into the inside groove, but they're trying to fight their way back into the top 10.
Starting to get exciting. Here goes Causey jumping out to the top side. He's just shuffling everyone
the 14
out.
and Causey come together. Causey going back up across the field hard into the outside wall. The 14 coming up and clipping Reese Schaefer as the cars go blinking and go sliding down the banking.
And that's unfortunate. Last week's winner, Joseph Causey, major damage. Major damage for Causey. I don't think he's going to go back-to-back.
I think that's a safe bet. That was a pretty hard hit into the outside wall, coming down into turn 3. A couple of guys just getting together. Alan Phillips stuck in the middle. Staples went down to the inside of them. They were 3 wide. Phillips came back up across the racetrack. Causey didn't realize they were 3 wide entering turn number 3 and came back across and clipped off the nose of Phillips, and Causey couldn't save it. As Phillips, Staples come together. Phillips back across the racetrack, collecting Schaefer, Levine, and Mitchell skating through on the outside. As we're getting the replay now, the 14 and the 88 coming together. I just don't think Causey thought that they were 3 wide.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can see Phillips kind of almost went down there into James Staples, you know,
for sure.
And he was just moving around a lot more than I think he should have. He kind of went, he went down, almost got into Staples, and then came up into Causey. I wouldn't really put that on Causey.
We're going to run a fix for the blinking issues whenever we come back. Or we're going to take a quick step away, whenever we come back. We're going to take this thing to the checkered flag. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Spartans Master Series. Hopefully we've got all the connection issues ironed out and sorted out so that we can bring this race to you. Green flag to the end with no interruptions. That's the plan. Jordan Saylor's up in the race lead. Dave Sanders on the outside in second as we're getting ready to restart here once again. That number 55 has looked quick the last handful of laps, man. He's been challenging up towards the front of the field.
Yeah, no, definitely has been. Of course, top three right now, 10 laps in their stint. So they're a little bit lighter on the fuel than the guys behind them. So curious to see what does that impact does that have? Do we stay green? I really do hope so. We still are in that zone to where we will still require a green flag stop if we do stay green.
It's just a such a strange position in the middle of this race, right? It's just caution, come down pit road because we still have to come down pit road one more time. I'm looking forward to whenever we don't have to worry about the pit stops anymore, and we're just good to go to the end at this point. Still 40 laps to go whenever we hit the line. So I'd say another 15 laps or so, and then we're gonna be reaching that point.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that, you know, if we did stay green, because of the amount of cautions we've had, a lot of these guys would probably stay out as long as they possibly could. We're not going to see any early pitters because they don't know if a caution's going to come out.
iRacing pace car has pulled down pit road. Jordan Saylor's on the inside is your race leader, Dave Sanders. He was the guy that pushed him up towards the race lead earlier. He's on his outside. These guys work together. Up in first and second, Saylor's back to the gas, back to the green flag. 40 laps to go.
Yeah, Jordan Saylor's not a whole lot of help for the 55 right now. As the top lane, a lot more organized. Dave Sanders going to get a good run with some help from Devin Maines, the 5 Machine. 5 Machine's been up in the top 10 a lot here tonight. 15 of Kevin Zosiak. We saw him earlier involved in a crash. Of course, didn't get too much damage. He's up here in the top 3 right now. As there goes Justin Levine, jumps to the bottom. Zosiak jumps down to the bottom as well. Levine back up to the top. A lot of mixing and moving up here in the top 10.
All the guys at the front fighting hard for the top spot. Saylor's to the outside. Sanders throws the block to the top spot. Devin Maines now riding third in the outside lane as the inside line's just fading backwards. Does anybody jump down there, give him a boost? It looks like it might be Levine. Side drafting Maines coming down to 1. He's going to be side by side for third as the front 2 drop down. Helping Levine out, dragging that inside lane back up to him. Kalen Mitchell now to the back of Levine. Do those two work together?
Yeah, I mean, Kalen Mitchell's a driver we haven't talked a whole lot about here tonight. Has not been up in the front running. But it looks like he's going to be up here now in that DeWalt machine as he pushes Justin Levine.
Levine and Mitchell had the run down the back straightaway, but the inside line has the numbers now. They're a lot more stacked up, but the outside, they've got reinforcements too. They've got 2 more coming. Devin Maines and the 43 of Hudson cycling through, helping them out, and they're both going to clear the inside line. Get down. Justin Levine, Caleb Mitchell up to the first and second spot. Maines left hanging on the outside.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Maines is probably still going to have some good speed. I mean, he's got Chris Hudson behind him. Let's see what happens here. He's also got Kyle Westwood. You do see a little bit of the energy drain down to that top groove. Of course, Justin Levine in control of the race. Working with Kalen Mitchell. He's definitely picked a pretty good dancing partner here. See, Kyle Westwood has dropped down to that top lane. Going to shoot back down to the bottom. Is pretty much, it has gone single groove here for now. But Maine seems to be committed. Chris Hudson seems to be committed. Someone else, will they jump up there to help these guys? I mean, they're still maintaining pretty good momentum right now, even with just 2 cars.
35 laps to go. Still one more pit stop guaranteed to be in this thing. Will it be under green? Most of the field single file, just a couple cars trying to make the outside line work currently. The most stable that we've seen the field look all night, but a couple cars starting to peek out to the outside groove, getting it formed up. They haven't found each other yet, but they're looking to build ahead of steam. The front 2 are connected. The 43 shoving Devin Maines all the way down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. Chris Hudson with a huge shove.
And here's as well Timothy Babcock. I do believe he was the pick that our producer selected. Now up in the top 10. Where did he come from, I think, is the big question on my mind. Colby Jackson, 37 right there behind him. The top lane starting to get some momentum, starting to get a little bit of energy. But look at, I just love the expert pushing coming from Kalen Mitchell. I mean, he is almost just 100% connected with the one machine there for a moment.
Yeah, but he pushes them out so far that Mitchell backs up a ton going down into turn number 3, having to get air to the nose of that thing, and that allows Devin Maines and the 43 of Chris Hudson to just push by on the outside. Both of them might get clear before we get down to the stripe.
There's a lap car as we're coming up on possibly being 3 wide. Where does the lap car go? I think that's the 9 of J.C. Evans. And he's going to stay on the bottom. And everybody's just going to barely get by him. This is kind of a scary moment. Everyone having to kind of squeeze in like a can of sardines.
Yeah, Kalen didn't give him a ton of room there coming through 1 and 2. Really squeezed him tight. Wasn't trying to give up any space to anybody behind, trying to make a move. But here, Levine, he was on the top side of the racetrack behind Hudson down the back. Now looking into turn number 3. He's trying to make a move to the inside, side by side for second, and that inside line has followed him through.
Can I mention something? Mark Sanchez is in 13th right now. The front end of that nose does not look that bad. He absolutely destroyed the front nose of that 29. I'm shocked that he's still in this. There's a lot of guys that, these somehow it's like they've replaced the front nose of his car.
These things are tanks, man. You can just fix them up. Huge stack up on the outside line, though. Couple guys bailing down to the inside. Couple 3-wide moves. The outside line just disintegrated out of nowhere.
Yeah, Timothy Babcock going through the middle now. He's got, of course, Colby Jackson in the 37 right behind him. Looks like Devin Maines. I don't know if it was something, maybe a mistake with Maines getting a little bit wiggly. Goes up the track. Him and Chris Hudson both now have to fall behind the 37.
31 laps to go at the line. Levine leading the way. Kalen Mitchell in second. Dave Sanders in the 3rd place position as they come across the stripe. Jordan Saylor's in 4th. Greg Wachinski in the top 5. They're all single file, but they're side by side behind them. Staples to the outside of the racetrack, trying to get himself side by side for the top 5, currently in 6th.
Yeah, Levine definitely in control right now, but Staples doing a good job on that top lane. More lap cars coming into play, though. PB Henry in the 25. They're going to catch him like he is stopped. Look at how much this just makes such a dangerous scenario. It's like an obstacle.
You put Staples in the middle. Staples got sent into the sucker hole because of the movement. And he went from leading the top lane to just bleeding positions in the middle. Yeah. Still finally finding a home on the inside, but he's about 10th car in the inside lane.
Took a lot of the energy out of that higher groove, but Timothy Babcock really doing a good job keeping the energy going there. It's 37. Well, Colby Jackson doing a good job. But Justin Levine, the Pied Piper, in control right now, but I don't know if I want to be in control right now. I want to be in control on the last lap. I mean, a lot of times with these super speedway races, whoever's leading right now possibly, more than likely, won't be leading at the end of this thing.
Hell, I don't even know if you want to be leading on the last lap. I feel like you're just a sit and duck in these things. They have so much drag. The guys behind you have such a big run. They can build a run. It takes a perfect storm to win one of these things as you're leading coming off of turn number 4, especially with the start finish line all the way around the tri-oval. So I just feel like it's tough here, man. I almost feel like you want to be in second coming out of turn 4.
I think that's definitely a good point. I definitely think that Levine's going to have to throw some major blocks. He's going to have to do some major things in order to win this race. It's Timothy Babcock able to inch his way up to a side-by-side battle with Justin Levine. And he's got some good speed. Colby Jackson giving some good pushes.
Babcock getting shoved to the race lead by Colby Jackson. On the top side, Devin Maines, he was leading that outside line earlier, currently relegated to the 3rd car out there, but he's been given some good shoves from that 3rd place spot. Keeping these guys in it, pushing them by. Justin Levine, Jackson, and Babcock go by and they clear them.
3 wide is Dave Sanders in the middle. A little bit of a scary situation here. They're coming up on lap cars. Hopefully these guys get by them safely. And it looks like so far so good. I think they're going to go to the top side as you see Joseph Causey, last week's winner, going a lap down.
Racing can be a cruel endeavor sometimes. Like you said, winner last week, this week. Just about on a record for Joseph Causey. And I feel like that's going to be the story of his season. Kind of a checkers or records guy. I know it's Talladega, so you can't put the label on him just yet. But I feel like that's going to be a pretty safe bet year round.
Yeah, it's definitely, unfortunate for him. He did get the stage win, so that's going to be some really good points for him at least. There's that, and he's still out there running. He's 7 laps down. Of course, not ideal, but he's still running. And who knows who doesn't finish this race? I mean, he's points racing. He's doing exactly that. He's just trying to finish. And it's no fun, but at least he's doing that. As we see coming on some more lap cars. Of course, that's David Salter, and I do believe the 06. I do believe Ryan Jalick.
Gang, you never know. We've had a lot of accidents. You could have a couple more that pop off and take out a couple more drivers, and maybe you pick up a couple spots at the end of this thing. Definitely what he's hoping for, but it's definitely just a wish at this point as we come down to 26 laps to go. We're going to be having that last pit stop here pretty soon. Will it be a green flag pit stop?
I don't know, man. It's getting really, really close. Some of these guys got about 20 laps of gas, or 20 laps, on their tanks here. So it is curious, when is it gonna, when's the floodgate's gonna break, if you will. I think it'll be soon. But then again, we've had caution, so that 20 lap number that I'm seeing on my statistics here really isn't, I think, telling the whole story.
Maines and Hudson in control of the race right now. Greg Wachinski, the highest he's ran all night in that number 87, lined up in number 3 position. 4th place, Mark Sanchez. He's been to the back, to the front. Had a completely new nose put on that thing, apparently. Back up to the front in the top 5. Babcock, first time he's been here all night running in the top 5 for the last 10 or so laps. Looking to get himself back up to the front as he's leading that inside groove. Can the inside line find the momentum?
And Mark Sanchez, guy nosed into the wall. I thought his race was over. He's up in 4th right now, or should I say, he was up in the top 5. He's hovering around that top 5. As Babcock trying to battle for a podium position at the moment.
Devin Maines fading a little bit lower down the front straightaway coming out of the tri-oval. Hudson following them. Both those guys clear of both lanes as we come down into turn number 1. Wachinski side by side with Timothy Babcock, who's leading that inside line. The inside line starting to get a little bit of momentum as we come around turns 1 and 2. It'll fade as we come off of the corner. Both lines evening out. Hudson all over the back bumper of Maines, but the top lane is snaking a little bit down the back straightaway, gaining some speed. Can the 99 do anything about it as we come down into turn number 3 with that lower line?
I don't know. I think a lot of these guys are probably starting to prep possibly for green flag pit stops as well. That's Devin Maines, though. Very, very fast up on that top line. There goes Greg Wyszynski. He jumps down to the bottom with Mark Sanchez. Of course, these two, the 87 and the 29, both teammates. Gas and Go Racing. So definitely probably in each other's ears, talking amongst themselves, strategizing as they jump down to the bottom.
Those two teammates not content with running third and fourth. They want the race lead right before the pit stops, or maybe they just want that bottom lane as we're coming up to that pit window. You said Gas and Go Racing. That might be what we're getting ready for right now, as that inside line is starting to fade.
That is really an appropriate team name. Gas and Go. You know, that's exactly what I think these guys are going to be probably trying to do. But Devin Maines, very fast in that 5 machine. Chris Hudson, been incredibly quick. 75 of Kyle Gerlach. He's in that, that Chevy there, that red and gray Chevy. Looks like we got some pit stops here going on. I do believe, I think that's Kyle Westwood coming to pit road.
Gordon Sailors down pit road as well. Sanders down at pit road. So a couple takers, but still the majority of the pack out on the racetrack. Maines and Hudson leading the way down into turn number 3 on the outside. Devin Maines currently in the race lead. Do we have anybody else decide to come down pit road as they get around a couple lap cars here on the inside? That could bring up an issue as a couple guys might be trying to get to pit lane. A little sketchy coming off of turn number 4. A couple guys down to the apron towards the back of the pack. So 2 more people coming down pit road, but not too many more to add to the tally. And if you're only coming with 1 other person, 2 other guys like we've seen the first couple laps, you're probably out of this thing. These guys still in a pack, strung out a little ways, but they're going to be running way faster lap times than you can run with just 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case with this next gen. I think the magic number is probably going to be about 3 or 4, maybe 5. You know, the less variables you have, probably the better. But then again, you still need, the more cars for more speed. So we'll see how this kind of all plays out, as we're going to probably have some more peel down possibly this time by. Well, it looks like no takers this time by.
Couple guys waiting until the absolute last moment, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and that doesn't surprise me. I mean, think about it. We've seen so many cautions here tonight. It does not shock me that a lot of these guys think that there's going to be another one. So it's like, why would I pop down pit road if maybe that caution comes out at an opportune time, that I don't have to do a green flag stop?
Well, if you come down pit road and you don't get a penalty, don't go a lap down, and then you come out and the yellow flag comes out, you get to jump everybody that still has to pit for free. So it might be worth it.
That's definitely a good point. Yeah. No, it could definitely be worth it. It just really just depends on how the cookie crumbles, I guess. You see Timothy Babcock kind of running on that higher line, working still with Colby Jackson. These guys have been sticking together. Justin Levine, of course, with those guys as well. They don't seem to be prepared to go to pit road yet. Yellow flag is out.
Oh, almost wrecking in the main pack after the yellow flag. Levine got squirrely, got a tap from the inside of the inside groove. Not quite sure what happened. Not quite sure where the yellow flag is coming from either.
Joseph Causey in the 88 getting spun by Ryan Jalick. And it looks almost identical to what we saw earlier with Jalick.
Oh, man.
Jalick just gets a run.
But here it's just 2 cars.
And he just turns him right into the outside wall.
Whenever you're in a pack, it's understandable. Whenever you're running 2 cars, not as much.
Both of these guys were a lap down, and this just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why are these guys racing so hard when they're both laps down? There's nothing to gain here by racing so hard. But
I don't even know if it's a racing hard thing. It's just you're shoving like you do at Superspeedways. He messed up. It's just that's a mistake you can't make.
Yeah. That's definitely for sure. And I don't mean to rag on the 06. I mean, it's a mistake. And I know it's not an intentional mistake, It's just something that needs to be cleaned up, you know.
I don't disagree. Definitely ruins the flow to this race at the end. We were getting along good green flag run, about to get the green flag pit stops, and well, that got ruined right before they happened. I mean, we were just about to get the entire pack coming down pit road, but no.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
We got the dreaded yellow.
We did. We definitely did. And it's unfortunate. And you know, it's just one of them things. You know, you just gotta be careful. I know a lot of people think it's easy to run these kind of races, but I mean, it is hard to kind of check up that, you know, that run of speed that you get when you're right behind someone. And I think that's just what Ryan, you know, kind of failed to do. He just got to run and didn't probably want to lose that run. And
well, whenever you're two cars running a lap down, you got to be a little bit smarter than that.
Yeah, just be a little more cautious.
You just lift.
You're not gaining anything by not lifting. Yeah,
exactly. In the pack, it's excusable. They're not so much. But either way, mistakes happen. We got pit stops. This is going to be the final round of pit stops. I can't imagine why else you would come in unless you're involved in a wreck. Devin Maines winning the race off of pit road. Chris Hudson coming out second. But like I said, the guys that came down pit road and didn't get lapped, they're going right on by these guys. Sanders, Sailors, Westwood, all in the front three. None of them had to come down pit road.
Yeah, I mean, so you were exactly right. I mean, because those guys did not go a lap down, it's going to greatly help their cause. Of course, you know, it's just going to be interesting to see, can they hold on to the positions? We'll have to wait and see, but I think we have ourselves a pretty good shootout. Well, no, fuel's not going to be a concern. This is just going to be straight up Talladega shootout to the end.
Which means these guys are going to go absolutely batshit crazy, right? I mean, we're going to see the biggest beating and banging we've seen all night.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen some crazy racing as it is. So, yeah, no, I totally agree. It's gonna get wild. It's already been wild. It's gonna get wilder.
Looks like Sanders might have a penalty, so he's having to drop to the back. Looks like a couple of these guys might have. I don't know exactly what's going on. We had a couple of different guys up towards the front, but they're losing some spots.
What it could have been, I think that Maines came off of pit road, and I think he might have just barely got in front of them before they actually passed.
Well, they slowed down too much for the caution.
Yeah, so...
Either way, they're going to be at the front, and with how volatile the front of the field is, I don't really think it matters whether you start first or eighth. Got a pretty equal chance. At being at the front at the end of this thing at that point.
I definitely don't think there's going to be a whole lot of lifting going on. I think there's going to be a lot of crazy moves. A lot of guys going to be really, really, really wanting to get the win here.
We haven't had a lot of give tonight. It's going to be zero give now. And I felt like it was pretty close to that anyway. We have not had many people taking care of each other. And now at the end of this, with a win on the line, oh my word, this is going to be fantastic. Absolutely mental to the end.
Definitely going to be some high-octane action.
Oh, no. Oh, no!
Roll credits.
Catchphrase has come out of the woodworks from absolutely nowhere. It can only be for a special cause. So hopefully it's this right here. The finish of this.
Hopefully so.
Special cause. Hopefully it's not Causey being 8 laps down, wrecking the field.
A lot of fast drivers that are further back in this field and that are going to want to make moves. I definitely think we'll see some 3 wide up top action. We might even see some 4 wide. We saw some hints of it earlier in this race.
I think it's a guarantee. It's just whether or not it spawns a wreck or not. Do we get through the 4 wide? Probably not.
Probably not.
But I'm here to find out. It's the reason why we tune in. We just want to know how crazy it's going to get.
Want to know who's gonna hoist that trophy here at Talladega in the second race of the season. That's what I want to know.
And if you can escape the first 2 rounds with one of them being a Superspeedway with a pretty good position in the points, if you're sitting top 5, you got to be feeling pretty good. So a couple of these guys that had good runs at Kansas, got to be thinking, man, I just want to escape out of here with the top 10, be looking good in the points, and get to a couple more normal racetracks.
Here we go, though. 15-lap shootout.
The math coming into play there, and it worked out. iRacing pace car pulling off. As my good friend here that's great at math, Brian Britt, just mentioned, 15 laps to go at the line. Devin Maines back to the gas, and we're racing once again. Will we see that yellow flag again?
I sure hope not. Devin Maines, though, jumps up top in front of Chris Hudson. Him and Hudson will work together a lot here in this race. Dave Sanders giving some big pushes to the back of the 43, getting that top lane really under a lot of speed there, a lot of steam in that top groove.
What kind of moves are you willing to make to get to the front of this field? That's what a couple of these guys further back are trying to figure out. A couple 3-wide moves. A lane forming in the middle led by Justin Levine. The 3 fading middle, not quite sure whether he covers off Levine or stays with the draft up top. Maines and Hudson are the guys leading the top groove right now. But the middle line starting to form up, starting to come through as they challenge side by side for the race lead. Sanders on the bottom, Maines up top. The 77 with a nose out front.
Wow, look at Levine carving his way through this field. Moves up top, of course, the 37 following him. This is definitely getting interesting. The 5 tries to hold on. A little bit of wiggling there. See Levine goes to the middle. The 37 sticking with him. And there goes a block from Chris Hudson to the middle.
Hudson was tired of running behind Maines. He wants a sniff at the race lead, so now he's leading the outside line, getting pushed by Justin Levine all the way around 3 and 4. These guys side by side for about the 6th place position. Hudson getting pushed, and now he's got a little bit more draft and help in front of him. Westwood pulling out, taking the lead of the outside line, trying to get to the front.
A lot of energy right here in this middle groove. A lot of speed. There's a lot of guys trying to make it happen. I don't think Levine's going to be content to stay in line right here as well. I think eventually he's going to pop out and make that 3rd groove work. But I think he's content at the moment. We still have coming up to 12 laps to go here.
Got to get closer to the front before you make your move. That's what the outside line's doing currently. Westwood getting the shove from Hudson around the outside. Side by side for second, just barely to the bumper there of Jordan Sailors. Can the outside line get the momentum coming off of turn number 4? They look like they're formed up a little bit better. Hudson to the back bumper of Westwood, and they're side by side for the race lead, storming by Sanders, who looks like a bystander on the inside of the racetrack. Westwood to the race lead at the line by a car length. This Hudson still all over the back bumper.
Whoa! Big wiggles on the bottom lane. The 77 of Sanders getting really, really loose. I don't think this is over. It looks like Sailors and Sanders not really hooking up as well as they should be. And that might be why that bottom lane's not as quick as it should be. You got to push square. And it seems like it's tough for those 2 drivers.
Westwood and Hudson currently leading that outside line. 12 laps to go. Levine looking to the inside, entering turn number 3. He's going to tug that inside line along with him. Sanders back up to the back bumper. Can Levine get the help as the outside line's 3 cars deep? Kalen Mitchell in the pits further back as they're 3 wide. Back further back for about 15th.
And already we see, look at that, the 37 of Colby Jackson deciding to go up top, trying to get a 3rd groove working. He's got Timothy Babcock in tow. Can they make it happen? As that's going to take a ton of the energy out of that middle groove. But it looks like, I think, Jackson not able to make it work. He's going to go back in line with the 30-43. He's going to get another head of steam and try to make it work again.
This time, Colby Jackson had the run out of turn 2. Babcock went to help him.
Oh,
couldn't get close enough.
Babcock
getting
sideways.
turned. Babcock turned across the field and then back down into another driver, Kevin Zosiak, going around down the back straightaway, down into turn number 3. Collected a couple other cars, and the caution flag is flying once again. 10.5 laps left on the board as the field is filing out of turn number 4. We're going to get a replay to see exactly what happened to Zosiak and Babcock here coming down the back straightaway.
Major damage on the 38 of Evan Ethel. I see that, I do believe. Oh. And both of those Boomer Button Box cars, Evan Ethel and the 74 Scott Schroeder, both getting involved in that. As you see the 15, Kevin Zosiak.
The 3 of Robert Besaw Jr. getting turned down the backstretch here. The 5 all over the back bumper. Devin Main's just trying to push him along, and the 3 went up. Looked like there was a decent bit of room between him and Babcock, but the net code gods giveth and the net code gods taketh away there.
I think they would have hit either way.
I think so too. It was a pretty aggressive move there. Coming back across the racetrack, but either way, gets turned back across, and well, typically it's somebody that's not involved in the initial incident that gets the short end of the stick, and that's kind of what we saw there with Zodiac going around down the back straightaway.
Yeah, for sure. It's unfortunate, you know. See Zodiac running pretty good up in the top 10. Looks like he's going to be able to keep going, though, and finish this day out. Justin Levine, though, in the lead. Now we're coming down to that point in the race where things are going to get even more and more aggressive. I mean, it was already aggressive there, but, I mean, we're within 10 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen.
Only time that we have gone by pit road tonight, and no takers in the top 25. Rare sight to see, but that just goes to show those pit stops are done and dusted. We don't have to worry about them anymore. We're just racing to the end of this thing. 10 laps to go. I believe we just took 9 at the line right there. We're going to get a look at the schedule real quick. Going ahead on the week for Grid Vision, the High Slide Thursday Night Truck Series, 8:20 p.m. Eastern from the Michigan Speedway. It's going to be a great one. The trucks at Michigan always put on a good show. And then Friday night, the Ryko Performance Friday Night NIS Top Split, 9 p.m. Eastern, right back here at Talladega Superspeedway in the Next Gen, which we all know puts on a great show around the super speedways on iRacing. Big asterisk there. Got to say that every single time because we all know. Not so much in real life. Not so much in real life. We enjoy fuel saving so much.
Yeah, that's definitely disappointing. I mean, I'll tell you, it used to be super speedway racing used to be some of the most exciting racing in NASCAR, but you know, we get it. We definitely getting our the itch scratched here on iRacing at least.
Yeah, the good version is preserved through the A car. That's for sure. The B car presents its different challenges, but not quite as exhilarating. The Next Gen on here reminds me of the crazy package we had from 2020 on at the super speedway. It's just absolutely insane. We had in the Gen 6. So missed that package, but that's kind of what I feel like we get with that on with it on iRacing. Feels very similar.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, though. I mean, not long ago on iRacing, the Next Gen wasn't very fun to race on super speedways. I think it was a lot like what its real-life counterpart was. There was just a bunch of single file, and you could not make a second groove or a third groove, let alone a third groove work. I mean, it was just kind of single file. But now they've made it to where it is side-by-side super speedway action like it should be. Because I just remember there was that time to where you would have a league race or a to where it would just be single file, and it's like, what is happening here? Like, this is not super speedway racing.
Kazi just beat the pace car out to not go a 10th lap down or so, somewhere around there. Very important there for Joseph. Really don't want to go an extra lap down because you'll never get it back. But here with 7 laps to go, don't think there's going to be many people that he'll be passing.
Well, I mean,
8 laps.
That's not really the case. I mean, J.C. Evans is a lap ahead of him. I mean, there's still some chance of him possibly taking that spot. I mean, he's in 34th.
Minor possibility. Maybe.
I mean, if J.C. gets involved in another crash, then there you are. One more spot. Yay.
He can do it. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see who wins this thing, though. It's been a big shuffle at the front of the field all night long. Right now, Levine, Sanders, Sailors, Oaks, Saucier, Westwood, Gerlach, Hudson, Colby Jackson, and Charles Albert. That's your top 10. Those are the guys that have done the best job, giving themselves an opportunity. Coming down to 7 laps to go whenever we come across the stripe to take the green flag.
Possibly could have, if we have another caution, we'd have a green-white checkered scenario. And I'm not sure how many of those we get in this series, to be completely honest. But here we go. Let's see. Can we finish this thing under green? Can we race it out?
Probably not. I'm going to guess no. But I'm hopeful. I'm going to be optimistic here. We're going to get a great battle to the end. Like Spartan Dave just mentioned in chat there, we got some teammates up at the front, Sanders, Sailors, Saucier, all on the same team. Going to be easy to remember with the 3 S's up in the top 6. Can they do anything to work together to get this thing done? 7 laps to go at the line. The pace car's off. And the green flag is getting ready to wave once again. Justin Levine back to the gas, and we're racing once again at Talladega. Who's it going to be?
Justin Levine up and away. Doesn't have a whole lot of help. Jordan Sailors, though, gets to the back bumper. One driver we have not seen up in the top 3 or top 5 all night long, Jeffrey Oakes. Where did this guy come from? Have not even seen the 20 car. And here he is in contention here, giving some big pushes to the 77.
Levine with a better run down the backstretch. Sailors on the back bumper, shoving him out. Good run for the 55, getting himself clear to where if Sanders gets another run, he can jump up there with his teammate and get a shove to the lead.
A lot of movement, a lot of wiggling in this pack. Here come 3 wide. Devin Maines, a little bit of a contact there. Some shuffling around, as I do believe we see Kyle Westwood jumps down to the bottom. Eric Hudson jumps down to the bottom.
These guys basically fighting for who's going to be leading that outside line, who's going to have the top positions whenever this outside line finally gets formed and makes a run for the race lead. Currently, they're just holding steady. Sanders not really able to go anywhere, and they're still shuffling further back behind them. Just behind them, 3 wide entering, 3 Babcock through the middle. Shoves the 20 out of the way, says, I want that spot. Now they're side drafting each other back, just letting the front 6 pull away.
Yeah, this is crazy to say the least. I would not expect this. I expected these guys to be side by side for the lead. But
Oak's
it looks
the big
like
loser in that, man. Just way back there.
Yeah, you see the 77 of Dave Sanders trying to keep that top lane going.
Oh,
just not happening.
Spinner. One spinning further back across the racetrack into the outside wall. I don't believe anybody's coming. Oh, further back, there's going to be the yellow flag right there.
Oh,
we're going to have a green-white checkered. Kenny Powell in the 7.
And that is going to lead to, as you said, a green-white checkered. It's Kenny Powell. Wonder what happened here. He was on the lead lap. Looks like a bad bump to, I think he bumped his teammate Mark Sanchez. Backed off of Sanchez, I do believe. We saw, I think someone else got turned. I think one of the Boomer Button Box teammates. Just a multi-layered incident there. You see, I think that is possibly the 38 of Kenny Powell, though, going sideways. Surprised that led to a caution. Like you said, we thought no one coming, but I guess someone was coming.
No, there was a pack of about three lap cars coming back a little ways further back. They were just off the screen coming around the corner. So the yellow flag had to come out with Powell sitting sideways on the racetrack. Unfortunately, setting us up for a green-white checkered. I mean, if we thought that they were going crazy beforehand, they've only got 2 laps to get the business done now. It's gonna be no holds barred.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing about it as well is, like, you know, you got Justin Levine and a lot of the top 5. They were single file. They probably were hoping that it was going to stay how it was, so that they could kind of race it out and maybe make a move or something like that. But now they're going to be all side by side again for this start, so it definitely complicates things.
Levine currently the only Toyota in the top 20. He's up in the race lead.
A lot of Chevys, I'll tell you that. There's I think a Ford, a couple Fords.
be fair, Toyota's not very popular. Not very popular. We're in America. We like our American-made vehicles.
Yeah, I don't mind the new body for the Toyotas. I think that you know, looks pretty good. Definitely not a bad looking race car there with Justin Levine. I tell you what, it's been bad fast. I'll tell you that. He's been up in contention for the majority of this race. I mean, and it's no, I mean, I'll be honest. When I picked him to win this race, it was shooting fish in a barrel picking him.
It's Talladega. You're really just picking a name out of a hat, right? I feel like.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's a super speedway guy. I mean, that's just what he's good at.
Yeah, but still, the super speedways, I always say that you're running people that run fast at the 1.5 miles, the bigger tracks, typically run good throughout the race at the super speedways, but coming out of the end of them, you just never know if you get caught up in a wreck, and it's just such a luck of the draw at the end whether you're actually going to be there to fight for it. And then even then, coming off a 4, there's no telling what the hell is going to happen, even if you set yourself up in the race lead. So, you know, it's just, there's a lot of luck to it, man. There's a lot of luck to it these days.
Yeah, I know for sure. There definitely is a lot of luck to it. I'm just saying, you know, he's been up front a lot of this race, so it's like a no-brainer that you know, he would be one of, I think, the top choices to win this thing. I mean, who was your pick again?
Pick the 5. Pick Maines. He's running 11th. He's been up front a good chunk
not terrible.
Tonight.
Yeah, he's been running good. He's been good.
You never know. In 2 laps, you can go from 17th to 1st in this package.
You
so
definitely
there's no
can.
telling.
And he's been up front. I mean, he's definitely. Yeah, I wasn't asking that to be smart. I really forgot. Like.
That doesn't account for the last lap wreck either. Didn't our producer pick Babcock? So all of our guys running in the top 11. That's pretty decent.
Yeah.
No, I say that.
I mean,
like I said, they're all going to wreck.
Scoring
on
pretty
this,
good.
All going to wreck on this restart, so we're all going to look stupid. But hey, if we pause time right now, we look pretty smart.
So we are now in overtime. The race was scheduled to be 112 laps. We're now at 113.
And we do have 3 green, white checkers.
That's right. I was just looking at that.
So if we rack them up again, and then again, and then we're done. Which could very well happen. Could very well happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's very likely, I'd say.
These cars are evil, man. The way that you have to drive them and the way that you have to race them at the end of this thing to make speed, like, you're just beating the ever-living hell out of somebody in front of you, right? Like, you're not... There's definitely skill to it. You got to be able to hang on to the race car. You got to be able to know how to build the runs. But what you have to do to build the runs is just so reckless and just leads itself to disaster. Yeah. So you come down to the end of these things and, well... To be the fastest, you got to be the most dangerous, and that definitely leads to some mayhem. So I'd be expecting that coming down to the white flag.
Yeah, no, I second that. I mean, this car, it can accept some gnarly pushes, that's for sure. And one thing that's why I like the Xfinity car, because you don't really want to bump rats in that.
Not that hard. You want to just lean onto them. You want to lean onto the bumper and then shove them along. You don't want to smack the crap out of them.
This car, you could like be 10 mile an hour faster than them and just bam.
You're coming with me, buddy. We're both going. The other one, you do that, you're both wrecking.
Yeah, for sure.
You're done. But either way, we're coming up to 2 laps to go. Will this be the only green, white checkered we have to use tonight? I'm leaning towards no, but we're about to find out. Justin Levine up in the race lead. Jordan Sailors lining up in second in that number 55. The green flag's out again, and we're racing. 2 laps to go. Huge stack up for Sailors. The outside line did not get going at all. Somehow we stayed green, didn't wreck. Nobody got sideways. Racing down to turn 1.
That had to be a wrong gear. I gotta say, Sailors had to be in the wrong gear. I mean, because there's... Man, that could have easily just destroyed a lot of cars right there. Somehow these guys able to stick going in the right direction. For now, they're going in the right direction, I should say.
Oh, they're wrecking. They're not going in in the right direction anymore. The 87 going spinning across the racetrack. Huge accident. Wachinski involved. And the caution flag's flying, so we're going to have another green-white checkered.
Exactly what happened, I wonder, with Greg Wachinski. As the 87 seems to be the epicenter of this crash. You see, he's kind of pushing right there. No, okay, so it looks like the 75 of Kyle Gerlach.
Yeah, Gerlach got turned from the outside.
Yeah. See, Timothy Babcock, I think, gives a bump to Gerlach. Unfortunately, the bump sends Gerlach up the track a little bit. Babcock comes down and turns him.
Yeah, Babcock might have added one to the kill counter there. Left front hurt on the 99 as well. Might have been damaged from a previous accident, but Babcock just got off-center there coming out of turn number 2, got to the left rear, and maybe he was trying to make the move and Gerlach came down, but tight race.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to go through wide in the middle. I mean, he could have been trying to go through wide middle. I mean,
yeah. I think that might have been a 3-wide middle move. It was pretty deliberate. Like he was trying to get in there, and
yeah,
Gerlach.
I mean, and we're green white checkered. We're green white checkered. He's trying to go where he can, and unfortunately he couldn't go there.
It was tight. If Gerlach came down, it was ever so slightly. Very, very minor movement. So I'm gonna lean towards nah, and just move
Johan
forward.
Seminario, who was involved in a crash earlier in this race,
Is he about to be back on the lead lap?
He's about to get his lap back. I do believe he's going to be on the lead lap. Maybe, I think. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's getting ready to be on the lead lap here.
Wow.
And I mean, and this, if they wreck some more cars, he could get a lot of positions here. So I mean, this is why you have to run all the laps. This is why even if you're in a crash early in the race and you're like, oh, I'm dejected, I'm gonna quit, that you're not able to get points that way. You have to
That thing's still
stick
crab
with
walking.
it. And he's sticking with it. I mean,
he's crabbing. He's crabbing, and he's going to be on the lead lap with a chance to pick up spots. I'm dumbfounded.
Got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, perseverance here.
They could very well wreck on the last lap, and he picks up 12 spots. Like
easily. Bad
Great
day
job.
goes to being okay, you know.
Great job, Johan. Sticking with it. Ozzy tried that, but he's still 8 laps down, so.
Yeah, it ain't going to help him much.
No. Might just want to pack your bags up at that point. Problem is, there's a couple of guys behind him that haven't packed up the bags. PB Henry 10 laps down. Logan Joyle 11. So that's points that he cannot give up.
And that's the thing about it. I mean, really, it's not fun to be out here in a broke race car. It's not fun. And when you're 8 laps down, it's not fun at all. It's so easy to just say, oh, I quit. But a lot of these guys, they're points racing. They want to do well in these championships. They know that if I just quit right now, there's a lot of points that are going to be left on the table. And those points at the end of the season could be exactly what puts me over.
Staying in the race, playing as much defense as you are offense. If you're somebody like Hodzi, JC Evans, 7-8 laps down, a couple guys still behind you in the race. And still hoping that maybe some other guys get taken out, but I'm thinking with only 2 green-white checkers left, you're kind of running out of opportunities for these guys to be wrecking at a rate of speed where they can lose 7 laps of time. So it might just be too little too late for these guys as we're coming down to hopefully take 1 lap to go this time by. Working green-white checkered number 2.
Justin Levine in control right now. Corey Saucier looking pretty good in that 18 machine, sitting in 2nd place. Will the top lane get a better launch this time around? I would hope so. Because, I mean, that last restart.
As long as he's in the right gear, right?
Yeah,
should be okay.
Exactly.
I don't know if he was in the wrong gear.
I gotta say,
I
think he was in the wrong gear. Either that, yeah, you could have missed a shift. But I mean, the thing is, you know, Jordan. I don't mean to harp on that, but like, we've all done that. I don't think there's not anybody on this service that has not, you know, started in the wrong gear. Like, I think we've all done that.
Oh, I've definitely done it.
I'll probably do it again.
I'm guilty.
I'll do it again. Like,
I am guilty.
It's the same thing. Like, you know, we've all forgotten to take our qualifying setup off or on, you know, or off, and you know, put the race setup on. We've all done that.
It's like a rite of passage to actually be an iRacer. It's like, have you done this amount of things? It's the basics, man. The easy little mistakes.
It's like, have you even iRaced if you haven't done those? Like
everybody's bound to make them at some point. But here, with 2 laps to go, are we bound to see any more mistakes?
Oh, I'm sure. I guarantee you we are. It might not be a caution-causing mistake, but it'll be a mistake.
I think that's a fair bet. We might get to the white flag this time. We'll have to wait and see. Only made it halfway down the back straightaway last time around, the last go around, the last try at a green, white, checkered. This will be the second of 3 potential opportunities. Pace car pulling off. Levine up in the race lead. Can he hang on? This time you expect the outside line to get a better jump than they did last time. So can he hang or fend off a challenge from Corey Saucier coming up to 2 laps to go. To the restart zone, back to the green flag. Can we get this one finished up?
Colby Jackson definitely doing a good job getting the one underway as well. Big bump to the back bumper. That's Devin Maines, your pick. Very good run of speed. See the 55 of Jordan Sailors. He didn't make a mistake on that restart. He was in the right gear that time around and got up going really fast.
Maines was back in 11th just after a couple of restarts. He's up to 3rd and looking to try to get up to the race lead. Might be having some help coming from behind. The inside line better formed up. The outside just kind of bickering, fighting for position as the 55 of Sailors finally getting some help behind them. Can they mount a challenge as we come out of turn 4? Oh, they're wrecking.
Problems. Sailors sideways. Do we see caution flag is out?
Coming back across the racetrack. I don't think anybody else got collected. Maybe two guys total, with the yellow flag flying again. As the clock strikes midnight into Wednesday morning.
Yeah, I got to work in 8 hours.
I'm on the same boat.
That's what I was hoping. I was like, this thing ain't gonna take a long time, and I'm not driving. I mean, of course, it'll be okay.
Just a little clip. Just a little clip. Sends them around. Sailors go spinning.
Woo! Look at how close that was right there. Who was that? Almost
off the nose of his teammate Saucier.
That was scary. What a race here tonight at Talladega. We're going to run all the green, white checkers.
All the laps possible are getting put down today.
That's right. We go big or we go home. Do we finish this thing under green? I think is the question on everybody's mind. Do we finish it under yellow? Who's going to be in front when the yellow comes out? Possibly.
I'm thinking we wreck between the restart zone and the beginning of turn 2. Somebody makes the 3-wide move. It's my last chance.
I'll tell you what. I'm so glad that Charlotte Roval, we won't see any cautions except for the stage break. Hopefully.
Yeah, that'll be a nice change of pace. It'll be a nice
change of pace, and it's just Talladega, man. This track can bring
especially
out
with 42
the worst.
cars.
And they named the race the Indian Burial Ground 112. I mean, you are asking for trouble.
It was
when
meant
you
to
name
be.
your race that. Just asking for trouble.
Still 2 more laps under pacing. Typically, let's see. Levine, Jackson, Maines, the top 3. One more car getting a lucky dog. I believe that was David Salter getting a lap back. 28 cars currently on the lead lap. Kyle Gerlach, the last one of those runners. A couple of these guys just hoping they see the white flag and then the wrecking happens so that they can pick up some positions. from some slower guys just trying to get the ship righted. Yeah, Heath, I think you're right. I think they are drunk on racing fuel, like Brian was talking about earlier. You know, he was talking about sipping the gasoline. I think
they were trying to save fuel, so they just put some in their mouths, and then they got intoxicated on it. Apparently,
I think a couple guys might have been listening to the broadcast, and
they're like, "That sounds like a great idea. Put some fuel in my mouth."
It's a simulation, man. You got to do it just like they do it in real life.
Yeah.
I store gasoline in my pockets.
Justin Levine, though, out front right now. Can he hold on? Can my pick hold on?
No, I don't believe.
I mean, he's been holding on two of these green white checkers. If the caution, if that had happened if it had been the last green white checkered and the caution came out, he would have won the race. So if that happens again in this final green white checkered, he's the winner.
Could anybody be running it close on fuel? Right, that last pit stop, did you short fuel and you weren't expecting 3 green white checkered? So maybe you're having to clutch and coast.
That's a good question.
Under this and hope that you have enough.
Let's see, some of these guys have 27, 28 laps.
Getting up there.
So I mean, that's definitely a valid question.
After this caution lap right here, I saw one guy pull off the pit road. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe on that white flag lap, if we get there, if a couple of these guys don't sputter.
They could. It definitely could happen. It definitely is a possibility. I'm sure a lot of these guys definitely clutching, trying to save as much gas as they can.
You know, we haven't really seen Colby up front tonight. All of a sudden, he's on the front row on the last green white checkered. I haven't really talked much about Colby Jackson all night, and here he is at the very end with a chance to win it.
2 grid vision cars at the front of this field right now,
and neither one of them are going to walk away with a checkered.
I'll tell you, there's a lot. There's a trophy on the line here tonight, and I think, you know, somebody maybe unexpected could walk away with it. You know, Charles Aber, you know, Tom Ringer.
You never know who's going to get the run on the last lap if we get there. That's the big question. Do we get to the last lap, and then where does the run formulate? Who sticks together the best, and who comes out of turn number 4 with the head of steam?
I don't know. Devin Maines is kind of falling back pretty heavy here. I don't know if this is. I don't know if that's a legal thing to do here.
I think they'll pull up. He'll be fine.
He better, because that's something that I don't know. We'll see.
Well, this is it. No matter what, whether it's a yellow flag or a white flag, the next flag will signal the end of this race. Coming down to the green. What's it going to be? Can we see the white flag? Justin Levine bringing us back down to the green flag. 2 laps to go. Jackson lined up on the outside. Levine trying to pull him through with the draft and back down in front of Maines as we come down to 1.
The 18 kind of driving on the apron there for just a moment. A lot of energy in this pack right now. I don't know if I like it very much.
Oh, Colby Jackson to the bottom. He's trying to take the race lead over Justin Levine. Down to the inside, entering turn number 3. He gets the bumper from Maines. Devin Maines is just going to shove him out into turns 3 and 4. Does that yellow flag fly and end this thing with Colby Jackson out front for the first time tonight? Working Levine power back on the outside of the racetrack. He gets to the right rear of Colby Jackson with a shove. Jackson gets shoved down to the apron, gets it back down onto the racing surface, and we're going to be 3 wide for the race lead at the white flag. Somehow we get it under green. It's the 77 going to the race lead as we come down to 1.
This is just an excellent finish to this race here. What a push from Charles Aber to the back end of the one of Justin Levine. Will Justin Levine seal the deal? Will the 07 steal it? Will Dave Sanders mount a charge with Eric Hudson's help?
Coming down the back straightaway for the final time. Charles Abert is all over the back of Justin Levine, but they've separated coming down to turn 3. Can somebody further back find a run? It's looking like it's going to be the 77. Dave Sanders with a huge shove from the 43. Levine with a block up to the top. He gets the bumper. They're 4 or 5 wide further back. Wrecking for third, but it's going to be Justin Levine coming across the line to win in the Spartan Masters Series from Talladega in the third green, white, checkered.
Wow. What a finish. Justin Levine hanging on. And you doubted him. You doubted him. But he was able to hang on. I tell you,
I didn't think it was going to happen, but he threw the block whenever he needed to. Look at this block on the 77 out of turn 4. Oh, just timed perfect. Everybody able to get through. The 37 makes an evasive move. They get put 4 or 5 wide and all come together in the middle and just come wrecking to the line. Classic Superspeedway finish. But the top 2, Levine and Sanders, come through clean and win that thing from Talladega.
Yeah, what a race from Sanders. I mean, what a charge there late. Jeffrey Oaks, we talked about him. We hadn't seen a whole lot of the 20 all race long, and he finished on the podium tonight. Great job in the 20 machine.
Is that Jordan Sailors that has not made it yet, getting shoved across the line by the race winner?
Some good sportsmanship here. And Jordan Sailors finishes the race.
Well, Justin Levine doing his burnouts at the end of the race here at Talladega. It was a long one in the Spartan Master Series. We're going to take one more step away. Whenever we come back, we've got interviews with the top 3.
Whoa.
Welcome back to the Spartan Master Series. We just finished up from Talladega. Justin Levine is your race winner tonight, leading 49 laps. Jeffrey Oaks in second. Kalen Mitchell in third. Little shakeup in the top 3 as Dave Sanders must have had a penalty, hit the incident limit coming to the line. Ended up losing his top 3 spot. Chad Kibbe in 4th. Charles Van Schack in 5th. Corey Saucier in 6th. Charles Abbott 7th. Devin Maines 8th. Art Nicotera in 9th with Kyle Westwood rounding out the top 10.
11th place, Johan Seminario. Whoa, that's crazy. I'm sorry to react like that. Johan went from like 30th to 11th. 12th place, Todd Parent. 13th, Mark Sanchez. 14th, Kyle Gerlach. 15th, Evan Ethel. 16th, Kenny Powell. 17th, Kevin Zosiak. 18th, Connor Banks. 19th, Colby Jackson. And 20th, Dave Sanders after that last, I do believe, penalty.
Dakota Jorgensen in 21st, Chris Hudson 22nd, Robert Besaw Jr. in 23rd, Greg Wachinski 24th, Tom Ringer in 25th, Scott Schroeder, Timothy Babcock, Jordan Sailors, J.C. Evans, and Joseph Kazi round out the top 30.
And of course, 31st is going to be James Staples, 32nd, PB Henry, 33rd, Logan Joyel, 35th, Corey Moore, 38th, Alan Phillips, 39th, Reese Schaefer, 40th, Daryl Knotts, David Salter in 41st, and 42nd, Jake Hickson. I believe that rounds out our field here tonight.
Order was all messed up at the bottom of that, that graphic for whatever reason. But either way, we're going to move into the post-race interviews. First up, we're going to pull up our third place finisher here of Kalen Mitchell. Kalen somehow escaping with a third place finish out of absolutely nowhere that nobody really saw coming. What the hell happened out of turn 4? How did you manage third?
Just kept in the gas and didn't let off and tried to weave through. It was pretty exciting. Wasn't expecting that at all.
Well, Kalen, you sure sound excited to match what we just saw coming out of there. You somehow getting up into the top 3, man. You sound absolutely just enthralled.
Tired and hot.
Well, I guess it's been a long race for you there, Kalen. But hey, man, it's a big bounce back from last week at Kansas. Had that incident early, got caught out or got knocked out of that one early. But coming back here at Talladega, bringing that back with a third place finish, at least kind of mitigating the damage in the points, giving yourself a fighting chance. So how does it feel, getting a pretty good finish here in the second race of the season, keeping yourself within the fight?
Feels pretty good. It's nice I finished last the last race, so getting a top 3 on this makes it a lot better. And fourth place, okay.
Well, we interviewed fourth place,
right.
Kalen Mitchell.
All right,
instead.
I'll take the fourth place.
Hey, it works.
I'd like to thank DeWalt and Mac Tools while I'm on here, I guess.
There you go. Well, thanks for coming up and talking to us, Kalen. I guess they've reinstated Dave Sanders' second place. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct.
All righty. Well, Kalen, thanks for coming up and talking to us. Sorry it's going to be a fourth place, but still, congratulations on the good finish tonight, man.
Thank you.
All righty. That was Kalen Mitchell, your fourth place finisher. Next up, Jeffrey Oakes is going to come by, your actual third place finisher. Jeff, it was a good run from you tonight. With about 20 laps to go, I saw you going backwards on the outside, got shucked 3 wide. But all of a sudden, at the end of this thing, finding yourself back up at the front, just about with a chance to win it. How'd you find yourself back up towards the front of the field, looking for the lead?
I was shocked when I got kind of shoved there. Like, I was just kind of minding my own on the outside, just trying to hang on for a clean finish there. And I got I don't know whether it was air or whatever. I haven't seen a replay, but I got moved and fell back or 20th or whatever. And after that, I just wanted to concentrate on getting to the bottom. I knew if I got to the bottom, I could, as long as I made it through any chaos, I should have a decent finish. And luckily there at the end, everything kind of played right, and I made it through there.
Jeff, what are you what are you thinking about coming to those green-white checkers, coming to the last lap there with just the huge pack? You see that wreck coming through the tri-oval. What do you even do in that situation? Are you just full pedal to full foot to the gas and praying that you make it to the checkered flag?
Well, it felt like that to me, but like I've been watching the replay there for 5 minutes before I was talking to you, and like actually as soon as I saw the 18 and the 5 get together, I was completely out of the throttle and off the throttle until the 18 and 5 were clear of me. So like, even though in my mind I thought I just stayed in the gas to the end, but apparently I didn't. Like, so I guess I was just trying to have a clean finish and not ruin anybody else's race and get out of there.
Well, man, sometimes the instinct takes over, and sometimes that's all you need, bringing home a third place finish here, getting through that wreck without destroying your race car. So that's a heck of a finish for you, coming home in the top 3 tonight. Great points tonight. Who do you have to thank at the end of this one?
I just appreciate my teammates, Daryl Klotz and Alan and Jay, getting me prepared and sticking through, and my wife for letting me do this. You guys up there in the broadcast booth for putting this on, and the SSRL League for putting this on. Look forward to the season.
Jeff, appreciate you taking some time to come up and talk to us after the race here tonight. Looking forward to seeing if you can back this up next week whenever we go to the Roval.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a strong run there, buddy. Look forward to talking to you more.
All righty, that was Jeff Oakes, your third place finisher here tonight. Congratulations to him on the good run. Next up, we're going to pull up our what should be second place finisher, the driver of the number 77, Dave Sanders, is going to be talking to Brian Britt.
Dave, we definitely are happy to see that your second place is going to stand. We were kind of wondering. We saw that. I was like, that you had to be feeling some sort of an emotional roller coaster there, hearing or at least seeing that you were relegated to 20th after such a solid last lap. How were you feeling? What was the emotions like? Dave, do you read us?
Hey, sorry about that.
Did you hear the question I was asking? What were the emotions like, knowing that you should have gotten second, you were relegated to 20th, and then you get your second restored to you?
Man, it's been touch and go. I was thrilled for the second. I actually, I was thrilled for the second, then realized it was gone. Glad it's back. That was an eventful race, but glad to survive. Thrilled with the second. Good teamwork on our Mad Sim Spartan team, and yeah, glad it panned out this way.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good day for you today. Very good points for you, and it seemed like you went through a lot of ups and downs here tonight. Did you hope that maybe you can get one spot better to get the win, or are you happy with where you're at?
Wanted that one extra spot. Yeah, we had a good, I would say, a good final run there, maybe the last 20 or 30 laps before the green-white checkers. Got a little bit off strategy, but then it ended up working in our favor when a caution came out and we got back up front. And yeah, it was just tough to hold on up front. So glad to get back up there. I definitely didn't think so when I was running about 10th, maybe 10 laps ago. So
what would you owe that, kind of last lap burst of speed to? Like someone was back behind you pushing you? Was it just linking up with a good friend?
If I remember right, there's so many green-white checkers, but I think this one was on the outside making a run. Trying to go to the top side there and hoping somebody came with me. If I remember right, I didn't have a ton of help up there, but I kind of thought I was stalled out in second, and then there was the car that got into the one, kind of slid up the track there and got a couple of us. But yeah, I didn't think I had the help for first there, just the way it worked out, but thrilled with second.
Definitely, for sure. Who can we give a shout out to after your second place finish?
Yeah, just want to say thanks to our team, the MSSR team. Been great running with these guys, and glad to be part of the league. It's my first year running with these guys, and it's been fun. I know tonight had a lot of cautions, and I appreciate the admins and the broadcasters sticking with us. But definitely looking forward to this season.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Dave.
Thank you.
All righty. That was Dave Sanders in the 77. Back to you, Austin.
Yeah, next up, I think we're going to try to pull up Justin Levine. He's going to be the next one on the chopping block. Your race winner here tonight, the driver of the number one, Justin Levine. Man, how'd you get it done? I feel like this one was never going to end. Had to fend off challenge after challenge on the green-white checkers. What did you think it was going to come to?
I was ready to go through the cat's fence. I honestly have no idea how we ended up in victory lane. It was just one of those that, like, all the cards fell right. Somehow that block didn't turn me. I didn't want to like slam the door because I felt like if I timed it just right, it was just going to punt me into the wall. So I left him that top, and I guess he was hesitant with me coming up like that. And it held me forward, and everyone started wrecking, and there was no run at the end there. I just smashed the throttle and victory lane.
Yeah, the block was good enough to get them all 5 wide behind you, and they, well, there's definitely no 5 wide call in iRacing. I can tell you that for sure. You're gonna have absolutely no idea what you're doing at that point. But, towards the end of these things this week, it seemed every single race, guys have teammates, they have a game plan, they're working with them, and then at the end, that entire plan goes to crap, and you have absolutely no one to work with. What was it like at the end of that thing after your teammates kind of got taken out of the running? And you didn't have anybody to work with? What was the challenge like at that point?
Once you're solo, it's extremely hard. Everyone knows how well I run here, and nobody wants to work with me. So it's basically just using everyone up as much as I can, taking the run, whether it's going to work out or not. And most of the time, me being aggressive, it paid off. As you can see here, we're in the victory lane. But I like to run solo. Then I don't got to worry about, like, are we all clear? Did we all make it? Because I feel like with the timing and how fast you have to be with some of these blocks, hesitating for your teammate is the difference between victory lane and not.
In the middle of that, you almost sounded like Austin Hill, like you won the race, but you're still complaining that nobody would go with you. Like, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, buddy, you got the trophy. Why don't you go cry in your pillowcase made of money?
I will.
Either way, Justin, it was a good run for you tonight. Who do you have to thank at the end of this one?
Definitely you guys. It's awesome hearing Brian in the booth. I miss him. Dave and all the admins for putting this on. This is still one of the best leagues. Unfortunately, this race is definitely not one of our best as a league, but I'm sure you compare us to another league and everyone's having the same trouble. Everyone's just very aggressive, and it's part of the draft package here. But and all the viewers, can't thank them enough.
Well, congrats once again, Justin, on picking up the dub tonight. Great points night for you, and you brought home the trophy at the end of the night. So congratulations. Looking forward to seeing what you can do the rest of the season.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Alrighty, that was your race winner, Justin Levine. He pulled off the win at the Talladega Superspeedway. Brian, it was a long one. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I ditto. I agree. It was a long one. It definitely was. But I mean, I think it was a fun one for sure. And I think my pick won, so I'm leaving happy. So I mean, I'm the winner. I'm the winner along with Justin Levine.
The homer pick comes through for my co-commentator here, Brian Britt, tonight. It was that type of night, I suppose. You gotta go with the homers sometime. But either way, here at Talladega, it was a good race, man. Heck of a race. Fantastic finish. Crazy racing to the end of it with Justin Levine picking up the dub. And that's going to do it here from us at Grid Vision. So from the entire Grid Vision team, we'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to Justin Levine on winning tonight's race from the Talladega Superspeedway. This has been Austin Edstrom standing alongside Brian Britt and Austin Derbyshire. We will see you next time on the Grid